This is a HeadGum podcast.
Growing up and well into adulthood, by the way, because whether you're a child who doesn't have to, but I would have
the trash on it. That is so... Welcome to another brand new episode of All Fantasy Everything, the podcast that got everything it wanted for Christmas and is so thankful for it. And, but as far as Hanukkah went, we didn't get anything we wanted.
Not a thing.
Not one goddamn thing.
People don't get things they want for Hanukkah.
They
it's
don't.
not a good holiday.
It's not a good holiday. Hanukkah's a trash holiday.
Whoa. Are you Jewish?
100%. Bar mitzvah and everything. Yeah.
You another layer to the onion. You find it out every day.
That's
You
right.
look back, it's still sweet.
Nominated for an Emmy. You're every day.
I heard about all this.
100% Jewish bar
I
mitzvah
see you
every
army
day.
crawl into the gym sometimes.
I do that. I army crawl from the Television Academy of Arts and Sciences to the gym on a regular basis.
I mean,
And that's when I'm not at shul.
throwing out a word I haven't heard in like a decade.
Shul. There is no Dana, only shul. Something like that. I don't know.
Ghostbusters reference.
Ghostbusters. I've never seen it.
Yeah.
You ever seen
I was
Ghostbusters?
just kidding.
Oh, okay. Jeez, wow.
Wouldn't that be crazy?
What if you saw like the all-lady Ghostbusters,
Yeah.
but not the actual
Yeah.
Ghostbusters?
You mean that Leslie Jones movie? Yeah, I love that shit.
That middling Leslie Jones movie from about a year and a half ago? Yeah, that was good. It's pretty
When
good.
it cost $150 million when it needed to cost like 50?
How did it cost so much money?
Why did
All the ectoplasm.
Oh,
So much green CGI.
They insisted on real ectoplasm, which was
That's
very
the problem.
expensive.
You
Yeah.
gotta buy that shit in from Jamaica.
You do.
It
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
out here.
yeah. Well, I mean, what was
That's
the
where it
sanctions?
comes
You can't even get ectoplasm in the States.
No.
Not for cheap.
No.
I got it for the low though. Hit me up.
Dan's got an
After Jesus
ectoplasm
silent on
guy.
Twitter.
We are joined today by Allison Wehrmann,
Hello.
writer extraordinaire, and right now with The Ringer,
Yes.
with the website www.theringer.com.
World
Fine
Wide Web.
publication.
A fine publication. What's your appropriate title? You're all things pop culture, but mostly television and
Mostly
movies,
television.
right?
So my
Yeah.
official title is staff writer.
Yeah.
De facto, I'm kind of the TV
Zero
person.
people.
Which basically means I am the keeper of various email addresses and
Can't.
the permanent watcher of many hours of things.
Yes, and you write about stand-up, which
Occasionally,
for The
yeah.
Ringer. Every now and then, which I love, and I really,
For reasons that we'll probably talk about in this draft.
I think we
but-
probably will. It'll
Oh,
come
yeah.
up. But I'm such a big fan of your work. I would encourage all our listeners to go and check it out.
Thank you very much.
I don't want to. We won't get into details, but I love your end of the year TV list and everything. And I plan on using that to strategize against you in
Great.
this draft.
Yeah.
Steal all the picks
During this draft, I'm gonna take your top five. I'm just gonna draft
in this very real
You know,
competition.
in this very
you want to beat me.
with real world consequences.
David under his breath goes, Ian had a plan.
Yeah, I'm still not gonna have a good draft.
Yeah, I feel strange. I feel good.
Sometimes I feel like a real dummy when I'm like, oh man, I don't know anything that happened this year. What
Yeah,
the fuck
I
am
know
doing?
what you mean.
No one knows anything that happened this year.
What was
Too
I
much
doing all
happened.
year?
It was so loud.
was
This
a
was the
loud
loudest year ever, man.
This was a loud year.
God damn.
Getting that camouflage luggage was gonna be, that's my six man.
That's
Oh my
understandable. That was a highlight of
You
the
might have just blown David's spin.
Yeah.
At aherman2006 on Twitter.
My AIM username, reappropriated as my Twitter
Rest in
Twitter
peace.
handle. Rest in
Peace,
peace.
and
Rest in paradise.
rest in paradise.
Rest in power.
Rest in power, AOL.
That's the best one.
That's I think unless you're in a sarcophagus, nobody should say rest in power about you.
I don't understand what it means.
I don't know. What does
I
that
just
mean?
don't.
Like, be a
It's like
strong
the
ghost.
social justice one.
It is the
It's
social-
like, I
right.
liked your opinions. Rest in power.
Rest in power. May they echo through eternity.
Oh,
That echo through eternity.
that
That
makes
or
sense.
Hey, rest in power, dude.
That is definitely written on the bottom of like a Polaroid
For sure.
of a dude posing in a blue
in
jumpsuit.
a blue jumpsuit
Yeah.
next to a bench press.
Yeah, it's just R.I.
With
Power.
an inmate number.
Right, yeah, on the
24601.
Aryan Dan or whatever.
Hey man, cup of chilies, Bovice just got out. He's got this new phrase that he's working on.
He didn't understand how to properly do a clean the jerk and he killed himself out
I
there.
hate that so much.
Did you read that Monster Cookie Scott book?
Yes! Oh my god! Go to prison We could just say understand.
I just
It's
got
not
to
the
see
value
Marissa
in
adjust
need.
the levels real quick. That was funny.
Allison, do you know about this? There's like a prison. What is it? A prison thing?
It's like when you find religion in prison, kind of they don't like to say things like understand because it feels like it's beneath you to say you're under something. So they say overstand. It's pretty ridiculous because it doesn't make any goddamn sense.
So
I don't
hard.
understand you.
So hard to read Monster Cody's
That's
book.
also like weirdly new agey. Like I just feel like it's the word. You don't need to like.
It's
okay.
it's prison's version of conscious uncoupling.
Yes, that's what I was thinking of.
Prison
Like
is
just
weirdly
call it what it
new.
is.
Yeah.
They're making Frito burritos using pressure and like plum wine.
Oh
or whatever.
yeah, they make those.
You put the pickle juice in there.
That's what it is.
Yeah,
you
the
fill up.
Or it's like the kind of thing that you say at a really like hippie rich preschool. Like we don't like to call them students.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
pupils. Really like they're teaching us.
They're our fellow faculty, our 4-year-old faculty, our interns. We should take this opportunity to say, also, we're joined by not just Allison Wehrmann, but of course, Davey Borey is in the house today.
Hey.
The G is silent
Always.
on Twitter, at CoolGuyJokes87 on Instagram.
Yes.
How are you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I posted a video on Instagram of Sean nunchucking last night.
I saw that shit.
A lot of views.
Sean Jordan is a nunchuck master.
It's crazy because at first he starts and you're like, oh, he's doing the nunchucks again. But then when he gets into it, you're like, whoa, he is really good at it.
I'm good at it.
I want to. How applicable is that to a fight? Is what I.
First of all, since you're throwing all these big words at me and I don't know what they mean, I'm going to take them as disrespect.
I like the dichotomy of this prison stuff.
Watch your mouth. Help me with the sale.
like,
Revere.
I don't. What,
Is it good in a fight? Answer the
that's
question.
yeah. That's
No,
right.
no, they're not.
Oh, okay.
They're terrible in a fight. You can't do shit with nunchucks.
Really?
No. Yeah, I mean, they're just flashy. They're meant to look cool. Yeah. Can't do shit with them.
It seems like it would be a good, like, bonk somebody
I
in the head.
rewatched Popstar last night, which
Yeah.
is not from this year, but there is a great visual gag that involves Andy Samberg using
Oh, yeah.
nunchucks as the ultimate signifier
I
of
watched
like
that
some
movie.
stupid bullshit Justin Bieber would do in a music video.
That movie's funny.
It is good, yeah.
It's so good, and it was
Yeah.
also like I saw it in theaters for the first time, and it plays better when you're just like on HBO trying to come down from Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
makes
Maybe a
sense.
little bit stoned, sitting at home.
Shout out to Chris
yeah,
Red.
that was the mindset.
Shout out to Chris Red. Yeah, he's so
great.
funny in that. And I think he's been pretty good on SNL this year, too.
And it's
Yeah.
funny because I appreciated the acting better because when you see him on SNL, a lot of times there he's kind of the quiet street dude because he's
Yeah.
the new guy, so
Yeah.
he's
Yeah, it's like
playing a
early
background
on.
player in sketch, and that character is so over the top.
His comedy's over the top.
He-
And when he finally gets to unleash it, it's going to be
He left a bottle of Remy Martin in my freezer like it wasn't a big deal.
That's a good deal.
That's
I
a
was
big
like,
deal.
Great
whoa, he's like,
detail.
I gotta get out of here. I just left that for you. I was like, this is what rappers drink. Christopher.
He knew.
And
He
you
had
like-
his eyes on the prize.
Yeah.
You like rap, don't you?
I dabble.
I dabble in fandom. Melissa Villasenor, I wish would start getting more shine on there.
She's so
Chris
funny.
Red. Melissa is amazing.
Yeah.
She's
I
so
think
funny and
The
talented.
current cast kind of has the most potential that I've seen in recent memory.
quite
Yes,
some time.
they're like a good rookie and second
I
year.
really like Heidi Gardner.
Yeah.
I really like how Alex Moffat and Mikey Day have kind of blended in.
Yes.
It feels like they've had a lot of people who are sort of like, I think some stand-ups like Leslie Jones and Pete Davidson are great on the show, but they're not team players. They just
not-
kind of, they're themselves.
Put them on a weekend update. And
The
then-
old
Yeah.
Chris Rock problem.
Yeah. Rock problem. Pete Davidson, you see, got a big Hillary Clinton tattoo?
That's
Oh,
hilarious.
no.
dude.
They got a big tattoo of like 1990s Hillary Clinton.
That feels
Where?
like Cassie David's influence.
Yeah, it might be. Wait, what? Is he dating?
Yeah.
Wait, oh really?
Or I hope they're still dating. That's like my favorite couple
Oh,
right now.
interesting.
But-
Pete Davidson, we were New Faces together in Montreal. So that's my connection.
Good
So you
company
guys
to
got
be in.
real
Yeah.
drunk together.
Yeah, real
And ate
drunk.
some smoked meat in a hotel.
Yeah. And he had that girl who was dating that girl who would be on Girl Code at the time, and she was just up there hanging out, and she was getting more industry heat than like a lot of the comedians.
That is a bummer.
What was her name? I know. God, what was her name? Anyway, shout out to Girl Code.
Friend of the
Guy
podcast,
Code.
girl.
And Guy Code. Yeah, put a lot of comedians on. Sean Jordan,
What's happening?
at Sean S. Jordan on Twitter.
Playboy.
And Sean Cougar Melon Jordan on Instagram. I have seen so many people ripping off your Instagram.
I have seen it a lot too.
Yeah.
I love it.
I do too.
Spread the love. It's fun.
Yeah, Dave Cougar, Melon Brubeck, and shit like that.
Yeah, it never flows as good as yours does.
Yeah, John Cougar, Melon Jordan flows the best.
I'm happy that you guys said that. I appreciate it.
How are you doing? What's the
Doing great. We were at a house
y'all went
party
to
last
Malloy's
night.
house party, birthday party last night?
Enemy of the podcast.
Fake birthday.
I hate him. Never to return to this podcast. Introduced me as an Emmy-losing comedian last night on stage. I didn't mean that about... Oh my God, that was ridiculous. He took my legs out right from under me.
Oh, what a dickhead.
Yeah, we went to Malloy's house party last night, and it was fun. It was very crowded.
We were in the corner for a minute.
Yeah, we just had the kitchen spot like the old guys at the party.
Right,
we're in college, you guys are in high school. We'll be in the kitchen by the keg.
Yeah.
Making sure nobody gets beers they're not going to drink.
And they're talking about Yo La Tango and shit. Happy birthday, Mike Malloy, you goon.
Yeah. It'll be his
like that.
birthday by the time this comes out,
It
right?
will be, yeah.
Yeah, happy birthday.
It'll pass. Fucking goon.
He's either 47 or 21.
One of the two things is happening. A friend from Boston who he hates when we call him a goon, but then he's got all these stories about like gooning.
I made a kid sit in a puddle one night, he said.
You know,
He
it
took
looks
his
like a
shirt
goon,
off.
acts like a goon.
It's a goon.
It's a goon.
Yeah, or just a regular dude from Boston. We're just very sheltered here on the West Coast.
That might be it. That might be it. It's cold winters out there.
Yes. What else? Oh, I want to thank IndieWire.
Oh, yeah.
For naming our one of our podcast our Build a Sandwich episode one of the top 50 podcasts of the year.
Yeah.
Number 32.
It's so cool.
Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
Shaquille O'Neal. All right.
Story history.
Good company.
Howard Halls.
Absolutely.
Howard Halls, Milwaukee.
Yeah. So thank you for that. We really appreciate that, IndieWire. We didn't know anyone other than the AFE fans were listening.
Yeah, I thought it was just the people who tweeted us.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And then like our moms.
Shout out to you. Shout out to Saint Sue Carmel.
Saint Sue Carmel.
And shout out to super producer Marissa. Yeah.
I'm dabbing. You guys can't see it because you're listening, but
Why
I dab
did you
it.
just start dabbing this
I
week?
hate it.
I've seen him do it like 4
Because it bugged you
times.
so
I
hard
love you
last
so
night.
much and I hate it.
It just was bugging everyone so hard that I dabbed 30 times last night.
It's so irritating.
I
You're
feel
doing it right now.
Cool people don't look cool dabbing.
I think troll dabbing is a more common
looks so
occurrence than
stupid.
actual dabbing.
It is
now.
at this
People
point,
just
right?
dab to piss other people off.
Yeah, this
because
is
they know
so
they shouldn't
long
be
dead.
doing it.
But I don't think he's troll dabbing. I think he's dab dabbing.
No, this is like when we started saying bro is a joke, and now bro is like solid in his lexicon.
And dank, too. That's
And
what
dank.
Dave got in there.
By the way, I approve fully of bro. I'm on
Yeah.
record to say I am pro bro.
I will stop dabbing.
I don't
Please
like
stop
it.
dabbing.
I'll stop it right now.
Please stop dabbing.
Switch it to the Millie Rock.
Oh, start.
I can't do the... Can I do the Bernie still?
No, that's done.
What's the Bernie?
This one?
Oh, yeah.
David's still...
No stanky leg, no Bernie, no whip nay nay.
I had
No whip
I had a stanky leg contest with some dude in a bar in Atlanta, and
Yeah,
I
you did.
lost.
Yeah, you did. Of course.
Did you think that you were going to win?
That's the wrong place to do it.
Boy, did I lose.
That was an away game for you, my
What
friend.
did you think was going to happen?
I would have had a
in
better
Atlanta?
chance at like beating Lawrence Taylor in a tackle contest than I did.
Who brought up the contest? Was it you?
Oh yeah. We're talking eight years ago. I was a different boy. It might have been 07, 09.
You go for it. I respect that.
No more dabs.
Yeah. No more dabs. No more dabs in LA. Please.
Done.
Today we are drafting. We have congregated here in the Headgum Studios in scenic downtown Los Angeles, right here in the Arts District. You know,
Yeah, right.
just a little bit east of downtown.
Just it.
Beautiful,
Just it.
beautiful vistas of the skyscrapers.
You can
Loom over the city of dreams.
Oh, yeah.
Also walk through Skid Row to get here.
It's also the Skid Row. We're surrounded by Skid Row. Yes.
not the smartest choice I've made
No,
in my days.
we are surrounded by a homeless community that is larger than most of the cities in Iowa.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
In
It
addition
has
to
the
other
same
They have a
number of
parks
senators.
department.
You walked here?
Yeah, I took the metro. One of the 4 people in Los Angeles. I've taken the subway.
That's
and
right.
then I
Taking all
walked-
the time. Did you get off a little Tokyo?
No, I got off of Pershing Square and walked.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's not too far though.
It's an underrated subway system. I'm just gonna say
I've
it.
never set foot on it.
I love it. There's some good views.
Yeah, if you're
Because
above
I live-
ground,
Yeah, I live
and you can
behind
get
the
from
park.
here to Santa Monica in like 40 minutes.
That I like.
Yeah,
That's
it's
dope.
quicker than a car, from what I hear.
That we might have to get into when summertime rolls back around.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm
You
with
guys
it.
can record a live episode from the beach.
Ooh. Don't put that past asked us. We're Beach Boys.
It would just be
Honest proposal.
Yeah.
the whole episode would just be the sound of a baseball hitting the glove like
Yeah.
50 times because we'd be playing catch. Good talk.
Some rhythmic waves.
Rubbing
me
on
getting
Soothing white
sunscreen.
noise.
Pulverized by waves. I just love to go. I love to like stand in the ocean and just get the shit beat out of me by waves. I don't understand it.
You just want to face the power.
I just
Yeah.
want. I do.
You want to feel it.
Come at me, Poseidon! I really do feel like that. Like, you're not the best. I'm like Lieutenant Dan.
I was just gonna say you and Lieutenant
Jason
Dan out
Momoa
Yeah,
flies out of the sea.
Momoa just being problematic in about 4 feet of water. We've gathered here today to draft our favorite pop culture from the calendar year 2017. I'm very excited to do it. Allison, you joined us for the same podcast last year.
I did.
Yeah, for the 2016 one. We had a great time. So we thought we're so happy to have you back here.
You know,
To do
it's
it
been
again.
it took 20 plus minutes just to get to this point,
Yes.
so I think we're on track to exceed last year's run time, which
I
I did
know.
not think was possible.
I think I told you, I was
Such a
like, this
long
one
show.
won't be as long. It's
I'm not
gonna be.
optimistic.
Yeah. So let's take our first bite of the apple. Jump right into it. Now, to determine the order of the draft, we do that with a rollicking game of rock, paper, scissors. Play between the three of you. You go on shoot, and we'll do that right now. So here we go.
Okay.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Oh, god damn it.
You
I-
threw scissors
we
first,
still
and you
lost.
still won. You
We
still won.
Oh,
We've
I
done
won?
this
You
twice
still
now.
won.
Okay,
Yeah.
I won.
It's
All
a
right.
rare, David almost wins. David wins 90% of them somehow.
Very good at it.
And you
Well,
beat
also
David.
the listeners don't have to know, so you could
Oh,
just
we
be
could
arbitrarily calling all the shots.
Sometimes Marissa gifts them, so we have there
Okay.
is some
There's
accountability.
some photo evidence.
There is-
I
Okay.
watched you throw scissors and I was still like paper.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't
well,
know what
thank
that
you.
is.
Thank
Now-
you for throwing that.
What, you have to determine the order of the draft. I will remind you, it is a serpentine draft.
And what does that mean?
So it just goes one direction and then the opposite direction. So
That's-
people go twice in a row.
That's 100% right. Yeah.
She
I've
really
learned
cut
so
shot.
much in a year working at a college website, you
You
guys.
fucking knew it.
She got you shot.
No one has ever known it.
She just straight to the point. Kicked her. Man, she swept the leg. She swept the leg.
I have one ready to go
Guys.
too, but we don't need it.
A year ago, I could not name 5 professional athletes,
Yeah.
and now I know how fantasy drafts work.
There it is.
I'm so proud of myself.
Steep it in that ringer tea.
Why don't we just keep it intuitive and just go me,
Like a
Yes.
horseshoe.
Allison,
David, Sean,
David,
you, and
Sean,
then
Ian.
it's just a easy way to
Hell yeah.
remember, so we don't have to alternate or some shit.
Beautiful.
Okay, so does that mean I go first?
That means you go first.
Okay.
So with the first pick in the 2017 Pop Culture All Fantasy Everything Draft, Allison Wehrmann.
So, I believe, if I remember correctly, last year I started things off on a downer note by picking death.
Yes, that's
And
right.
in the same tradition, and as the only woman on this podcast,
Oh, yeah.
I think I am obligated to pick sexual harassment and
Yes.
Me Too and all the Harvey Weinstein bullshit
There's no way that wasn't going first.
as my number one.
Yeah.
I think that was kind of the biggest event in pop culture, not least because it puts the closest link between pop culture and politics, because
Yeah.
our president is also a sexual harasser.
Everything is
So-
political now. Yeah.
Yes.
Everything is like electrified. Yeah, that was by far the biggest pop culture story of the year.
Yeah,
It just kept
so
going.
and it's
It
still
keeps
going.
going. And it keeps going.
We are in a holiday lull, but I am betting January 2nd there's another big
Oh,
news
yeah, for
coming.
sure.
There are so many dudes in this city just shaking in their boots. Like,
I
Shouldn't
don't
have
feel
done
bad
that.
about that.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, fuck no. It's
Good, yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool
So,
when bad
I
guys
mean,
lose.
like, the short list is Weinstein, Ratner, Louis C.K., like,
Dustin Hoffman.
oh yeah.
Yeah, which keeps getting worse.
Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
Hamburglar.
The Hamburglar.
We saw it
And
coming.
I think it's really interesting because it's really shed light. There was a great article in New York Magazine that everyone should read by Rebecca Traister, and I don't remember this is actually the headline, but the thesis of the piece is this is not about sex, it's about work.
Yeah.
And just about, like, the real consequence of this is how it has affected people's professional lives. Like, all the people in these stories who were like, and then I left the industry because what was I going to do, stand up to Harvey Weinstein?
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or, like, did you guys read Salma Hayek's op-ed?
Yes.
Yes.
So,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
she says right off the bat, you know, he obviously creeped on me, but, like, he didn't rape me, he didn't sexually assault me, he didn't grope me, but he fucked with my movie. Like, I was trying to make my statement.
Tried to get Frida Kahlo to
Yeah,
not have a
Frida.
unibrow.
Yeah,
Because he
that
thought it
was
wasn't sexy.
dubious historically.
Yeah, crazy.
But, you know, forces his ex into the movie,
Yeah.
you know, all these,
Yeah,
like
full
Mira
frontal,
Sorvino.
Yeah, live. She was in She didn't win an Oscar, did she? For Mighty Aphrodite? Wait.
I don't remember the Oscar, but I remember like the most recent thing I heard from her was like someone wanted to cast her in Bad Santa, and Harvey Weinstein put the kibosh on it. And just, I think people are starting to understand this as like about frustrated opportunities and power dynamics in a way that I think, like, probably the most recent example of us having a national conversation about sexual assault was the college stuff. And when you're in college, you don't have like a professional life, so it just became about like boys and girls interacting, and then this is sort of like, well, no, this just affects women's existence in ways beyond just like physical safety. Yeah. So I thought I had to go first. I know that's a downer.
No, it's not. I mean, yes, it is.
A downer.
And you know, it's the whole like it's always been happening, but now we're talking about it, and now we are successfully removing people from the paint because of it. Which is promising.
Removing people from the paint.
Yeah, that's just a really bright way. Sorry, guys.
All these people too, there'd be these rumors persisting about them forever, and you'd be like, when is something going to happen? Like, and then like these consequent, like with Louis C.K.
Well, and it's Louis C.K. was especially bizarre because like everyone knew to the point where people were like openly asking about it and being asked about it in interviews. I thought was really crazy. But then like, you know, I've sort of realized something like Kevin Spacey, I think, was common knowledge for a very limited number of people. But like, middle America does not know that.
They have no idea.
Yeah, so like, I think Louis C.K. was an entirely different level of like, if you even casually followed entertainment, like,
you heard those
I thought the craziest details of that story was that the lead of the New York Times story was the contents of the Gawker blind item from 2012.
I remember that. I remember when that popped up for the first time, and I was like, yeah, so it's just essentially the exact same thing.
And the blind item was also not shy about who it was actually about.
No, they were, like, you just had to look like they were, like, it's a two-person, like, female musical group. And you know Garfunkel and Oates weren't at Aspen that year. It wouldn't have taken like that much work to figure out who it was.
And it was like, he is a really acclaimed sitcom based on his life that everyone's obsessed with.
French
and
New
he's an
Wave
acclaimed stand-up. And it was like, oh. But there was a 5-year gap between like people being willing to put their names on it.
Yeah.
That was really wild.
Because it's terrifying. It's
well,
like,
you have Dave Becky out there, like, jeez, now we're getting into
really.
I know.
No, let's do it.
All right,
let's
fucking
do it.
out there, like,
no one is not implicated in this. I mean,
just putting pressure on people, and like, you know, like Louis C.K. himself, like emailing, you know, when somebody would like pop off about it, like he like when like remember he like emailed somebody, and then the Kirkman thing,
Megan Keister, like all kinds.
Megan
of
Keister
stuff.
was on the red carpet at Montreal like 2-3 years ago.
Talking about it even that long?
Yeah.
And that was weird because like it was before the Time story broke, but she published that whole thing about like this is what happened when I tried to report on it. And it's basically a way of reporting the allegations without reporting the allegations. They were just completely out in the world.
It's just fuck. I mean, I felt like, oh my god. Just to talk about my personal, like when those rumors popped up, felt like powerless because it's like, I believe this is probably true. But like, what the fuck what do I do? You know, other than like tell other people about it and then not like work with Louis C.K. But other than that, like.
And when I wrote about it, like I wrote it. I thought he did an hour-long special this year. I thought it was fucking great. I wrote a really nice review of it. And when I was like the way I rationalized it to myself was sort of like, well, these allegations don't actually have names on them yet. And that's kind of the difference to me. And as such, I don't feel like I can really write about them the same way that I can write about like a specific hour of comedy. But, you know, being honest with myself, that's a rationalization. You know, I knew, and I was still endorsing his work publicly, and so were a lot of critics who I think also believed the women.
Yes.
Which is just a rough spot for everyone to be in.
Super. Now there's other like big names in comedy where rumors are swirling right now.
Oh yeah.
We can't talk about them on the podcast, but it's like we will definitely talk about that.
We can trade some rumors.
Off mic, we will, and it's like, gee, well, what do you do about that? Like now you hear these rumors swirling again. It's like, I guess we're just hopefully just if the people do come forward, just like stand behind them and then condemn it. But it's great. Sunshine is the best disinfectant, so I'm glad this stuff is finally.
Is that a saying?
Yeah.
Yep. And now that we have solved sexism and sexual harassment,
on to the second pick, expendable sport.
you believe in us.
Well, the other thing, just to touch on it for one more second, like, so this has come out now in like. It's come out in the world of celebrity for the most part, right? So it's like been actors. Have we had many musicians who have been yet? It's mostly
the
been
guy from Brand New, I think.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So some music, some comedy. I think politics is. I really hope it pushes a little more in that direction.
And sports.
Oh,
I feel like
sports.
those two
Sports, like, you can't even make it worse than it
I
already
know,
is.
and writing down with the NFL, it's like, finally some good news. Yeah, quarterback Ben Roethlisberger.
Like, did you guys know that the NFL is a problem with women? Who knew?
Well, the owner of the Carolina Panthers now is like a bunch of terrible allegations and stuff like that. The whole sports world, I mean, if that starts tumbling down, it has been, and like people just don't give a fuck. Like Jen Sturger with the whole Brett Favre thing, and then also being sexually harassed at ESPN and everything.
That story was so
and then nothing
crazy.
happens, you know.
Well, and there's also this weird issue of like timing, where someone like Woody Allen, where it's like this, we've already gone through all the arguments we're probably ever going to have about him. He has a movie coming out this award season.
You're almost better off having that stuff have come out in the 90s or early 2000s.
Yeah.
When consequences just for whatever reason weren't, well, not for whatever, it's because of institutionalized sexism, there were no consequences. Everyone's had the talk, and now people are like, oh, it's kind of old news. Like, you're better off being Woody Allen than you are being Dustin Hoffman, where these horrible allegations came out forever ago, people talked about it, and it's like, because is the other shoe ever going to drop for him, or are people just going to keep, like, letting him do his thing?
I mean, I feel like if you can be, like, publicly accused of child molestation and weather that, you've kind of done... And it's also like, okay, he has to stop making movies because people won't fund them at 80 whatever he is, when he already has, like, 50 movies under his belt. Yeah. Like, it would obviously be better than if the opposite happened, or if he continues to make movies, but that's not a super meaningful change in his career.
It's the Joe Paterno situation.
Yeah.
Yes, so excellent. And Mira Sorvino did win an Academy Award for Mighty Aphrodite, and then blacklisted after. Shout out to Mira Sorvino,
friend of the show.
They should replace Kevin Spacey. Well, no, she should be the lead on Transparent now. That's what we'll do. Tambor out. Digitally add Mira Sorvino into the Larry Sanders Show.
Yep.
Applesauce. All right, David Boring.
So,
on the heels of sexual harassment, which was absolutely the biggest pop culture thing.
Yeah, 100%.
It's time for your first pick.
I don't know why. I think I'm getting the second biggest pop culture thing of 2017.
All right.
When I say Bodak Yellow.
Bodak Yellow.
I love Cardi B's Ascent.
Yes.
I've been watching her since she was just doing Instagram stories.
A Hoe Never Gets Cold is a fucking classic.
Oh, and her shit would cut off, you remember? Like, she was so bad at using Instagram back in the day.
Really?
She would just be talking, like, in the middle of a heated point, and then the video would just stop. Because it ran out of time.
She was a pioneer.
And they wouldn't be, like, she wouldn't pick it up in the next video. It would just be some other shit. But just, like, I just love the way that she, like, man, a hustler's ambition. The way just to see her come from, like, on a bullshit TV show. Love and Hip Hop is bullshit. And she was a bullshit part on it.
Yeah.
And just for her to finesse that to, like, being number one in the country, and, like, it's just, like, anything. It's the most American story to me.
There's shades of... To be clear, before I say this, I prefer Cardi B to the Kardashian family. But there are shades of the Kardashian story where, like, when I talk about this with my parents don't understand that, like, I almost take, like, Kim's success and Kim's come up as inherent proof of her ability and talent.
100%.
And I feel like, I feel like it's harder to explain that to older people, but it's like, it is so fucking impressive that just as Kim could go from a sex tape released against her consent to being, like, one of the most famous and rich people in the world and come off really likable when Jennifer Lawrence stalks her on Kimmel.
Right.
In the same way, like, Cardi B, she can go from making Instagram videos and openly talking about stripping, and now she's the number one, not even number one rapper. She was the number one in the country.
It's like, it's just the other thing. It's not a rap thing either, because it's like, I listen to her other rap, it's fine. Just like the way that she was able to do it is just like
ambition.
Ambition. And she's like, and she did it keeping it real. She doesn't really lie. If you look at her and you listen to her, what she says, she's very straightforward about everything. Like, even within the raps, like, it's just like, man, I really appreciate her.
I would also refer listeners to my friend and my current friend, former colleague, Allison P. Davis, wrote the cover story about her for New York Magazine.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great profile. It's written from a place of love, but it is also very canny about how her celebrity and come up has worked, and it's just a great read. So if you love Cardi B, seek it out.
She's also, shout out to Marcela Arguello, who's also in that issue of the New Yorker.
Is she really?
Amazing.
What's Marcella doing in that?
She's just one of the top comics to watch or some shit.
That's fucking dope.
That
She is
bitch.
too. They have a friendship like that's not a.
Oh yeah.
I've seen her
It's-
perform a few times here. She's great.
Okay, you get it.
Okay,
yeah.
It
They're
was hard to
roommates.
explain that in public.
David lives with Marcella, and she
Yeah.
is a cruel.
Okay.
She is a
Yeah,
cruel.
Pass on my regards from some random she's never heard of.
I will do, and she'll be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
She's so
Like,
mean.
This
And
is
she'll
why
say
we
it
can't
just
have
like
nice
that.
shit.
She's so mean. We're friends. And then the other day on Twitter, she was just pulling my card up. So I don't even remember exactly what it was.
It's
But
exhausting.
she was just roasting the fuck out of me on Twitter. It was like 9 a.m. It was early.
Dude, she
I wasn't
really
ready
lives
for
like,
that.
I told you I woke up the other day, like 9 o'clock in the morning, she was cleaning the living room listening to Ghostface. And I was like, it's the morning. That's not morning music.
No, not at all. For Marcella, it is though.
That's what she wakes up to. And I like Ghostface.
I like
Yeah.
Ghostface too.
Sure.
Not at 9 a.m.
I'm
Time
listening
and
to
place.
Crisscross at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
I'm real sweet stuff. But yeah, anyways, Bodak Yellow, the Cardi B experience. I love it. She just bought Offset, Phantom. Great. Or a Wraith. She bought him a Wraith.
A Wraith. That's the thing. We were talking about that. I didn't know, like, having one hit single in 2017 was enough money to buy a Wraith.
So that's part of what
For someone
the
else.
thing the article I talked about gets into
Yeah.
is she makes so much money off of club appearances.
Does she?
So
Fuck yeah.
much
That's what all these
money.
Instagram people are doing.
Mm-hmm.
Just to go back to your, like, Kardashian thing, the fact that, like, they can, like, monetize the male gaze or whatever, like, is so... It's just
It's
rad.
good. Get in where you fit in.
I've never hated Kim Kardashian. I'm like, she fucking took, like, a sex tape and then got so successful that her brother has a sock company.
I hate
Like
it.
that level of residual success is amazing. To be that talented and good at like taking this momentum and turning into something
That
real.
all your
that
whole
your entire family's rich
Team
forever
Strong.
because of it.
I used to
Team's
listen.
on Team Strong.
Yes.
I used to listen to Sexy Canine when I ran, when I was really big into running.
Yeah.
Because I heard of Ray J through Kim Kardashian.
There
That's
it
what
is.
you
You
used
put
to
Ray
listen
J
to.
on.
That's what. Also,
That's
what you
fascinating.
Also,
used to
wait, I
jog
discovered
to.
this the other
I
day.
had
I need
no
to share
idea who Ray
this.
J
Does
was.
everyone know or remember that Kim Kardashian was in a Tyler Perry movie?
What?
No.
Oh.
She was in the Temptation one.
Oh, the Fighting Temptations?
Yeah, or whatever the fuck it's called. She's like the fourth billed person in this dramatic movie.
That's
Anyway, this
No,
was like,
good
it was
for
also
her.
really funny because it was 2011, so it was like immediately pre-Kanye. And
Yeah.
you just forget how different her entire image was before then.
Now she's like the American royal family.
It's
And I'm
dope.
sorry if it disturbs you to hear that, but it's 100%. It's 100% true.
Yes, you.
Yeah.
You, listener.
Yeah, Bodak Yellow, that song is just fucking...
It's great. She nailed it.
That's
The
a
whole come up. And everybody supporting her to do it. Everybody being like, especially within like the hip hop community, of people
Yeah.
being like, let's make Cardi B #1. Like people ride for her so hard, and I just like really.
Even, what's her face? Iggy Azalea. Not Iggy
Azalea Banks.
Azalea Banks, who was like hating on her.
She hates
This-
everybody.
She hates everybody. Then there's video of her in the club just going off to Bodak Yellow.
Because
So
it's like pretty undeniable.
fraudulent. It is into club level.
It's
It's
in
like
the club, and then it's teens on the bus.
Yeah.
And then it's just like your mom cooking dinner. It's everybody likes that
but it's
song.
I mean it's like
I think
remember
I've
when-
heard that song every time I've gotten in a lift for like the duration
for
of
fucking
2017.
real. Yeah, it is. That is the I'm in an Uber. It's Friday at like 10:45.
And the Uber's like trying to play like party music to like get you in the mood. And you're like, I'm a loser. I'm going home at 8
Yeah.
p.m. on a Friday.
You're a 74-year-old Armenian man. You don't need to do this.
Those is bloody shoes.
And those is bloody shoes. But it's like, remember when like In the Club by 50 Cent? Remember when that song came out?
Everywhere.
And then it was
Yes,
like
I do.
everywhere. It was like in the car on the way to the party. Once you got inside the party.
Yeah.
And
when you got real
when you went to
drunk with
Taco
your
Bell, it
friends.
was coming out of the car in front of you at the drive-thru.
Yeah, I brought the CD from my car so we can listen to it in the club again in the house
Yeah,
here.
that's where Bodak Yellow got this year. It was like that.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm with it, man.
For something to become monoculture in 2017 is pretty fucking
True.
fantastic.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
yeah. That's
I
crazy.
mean, that's like amazing. Bodak Yellow, great pick.
But also, one more thing.
Yes.
You used to run listening to Sexy Canine?
I can't believe we almost
That
did
is
I
that.
so
like
weird.
that. That's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
weird.
I feel like that's
I'm
the
here for
weirdest
that.
running
I
song.
still like that song.
It feels like the weirdest running song to me.
I used to run to some wild shit.
What?
My playlist,
Give us two other ones.
Damn
Born to
Yankees.
Run.
Damn Yankees was on there. That High Enough song and End of the Road by Boyz II Men. Those
Wow,
were both
End of
on
the
there.
Road.
I
right?
definitely have a memory of running to Viva La Vida by Coldplay. in my life.
That one's kind of that one.
Yeah,
that one's got
exactly.
some movement to it. It's a
Up-tempo
moment.
for
You
a
take
little
yourself on a
song.
journey. I mean, there was also Slayer on there, Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses. Like you have to, because I was
End
running.
of the road. What are you
It's
running
whatever
from?
gets you going. A
Yeah.
workout playlist
Yeah.
is completely functional.
Well, we're talking like 10
I got a lot of Florence and the Machine on my gym playlist.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yep.
she'll get you going.
Yep. You gotta like when you're running, because I was doing a half marathon, I was training for it, and you have to, like, we're talking like 10-mile runs every week, and it sucks. It's like 2 hours of, it's fucking boring. So you just have to.
But you
Sean's
don't get
getting real
sad?
serious. Sean's getting real serious about it.
Yeah, no.
What are all these people doing out here?
Pull your shirt back up. Yeah, chill out.
Nobody else on the bike trail when I'm running.
Tuck that
no
taco meat.
bikes.
Have I
Tuck
shared
that
my
taco
Florence
meat.
and the Machine, my fun little thing I do in my head for Florence and the Machine? Instead of a band, I like to picture it as a two-piece where it's Florence, who's the lead singer, and then the guy in the machine. Just out there on the drums. Just a gnarly dude named the Machine who's like wailing on taiko drums and shit for Florence.
I love it.
Just a real unlikely, kind of like a Grammys 2043 duo. All right, Bodak Yellow, Chantel Jordan. It is
Yeah.
time for your third pick.
I'm gonna pick the Eclipse.
Ooh.
Oh.
Are we
That was
ruling
pop
as pop
culture.
culture?
I mean, it was a big pop culture deal, wasn't it? It was like a big issue.
There were a photo that counts. It was culture. I don't know if it's pop
I was
culture.
wondering if it was gonna work. I thought it fell into pop culture.
I don't know.
We don't have to count it. I got another one. I wrote down.
Well,
I got
hold
another
on.
one
I
right.
will say,
It's an event.
I
It's definitely
experienced the Eclipse from a lift en route to my office from when I interviewed Tig Notaro at a press junket at the
Oh.
Four Seasons of Beverly Hills. So for me, it was a pop culture
It wasn't for
event.
Allison, it was a pop culture
But,
event.
so I'll take that.
Did you experience it like at a Tower Records or?
No, I just thought
Did
it
you
was
experience
a popular thing that happened.
Did
in
you
culture.
experience
I did. I was out
Here,
in
let
the
me-
field
let
and I
me
saw
read-
totality.
Did you blind yourself?
No, I had
I for
the
sure.
glasses, the whole nine. It
Nice.
was.
Here's what Wikipedia says about popular culture. And then I haven't even read it yet, so I'm not trying to who could win?
I think we know how this
Common
is
sense
going
could
to
win.
go.
Seems
Pop
like
culture is the entirety of attitudes, ideas, images, perspectives, and other phenomena within the mainstream of a given culture, especially Western culture of the early to mid 20th century, and the emerging global mainstream of the late 20th and early 21st century. Heavily influenced by mass media, the collection of ideas permeates the everyday lives of the society. The most common pop culture categories are entertainment, such as movies, music, television, and video games, sports, news, politics, fashion, clothes, technology, and slang.
planets.
That's very broad.
That's
news.
the broadest
Eclipse is
definition.
It's news.
Eclipse is news.
Yeah.
We don't have. I didn't mean to
It's not
piss
a
everyone off.
technicality.
I honestly, I mean, I wasn't trying to make like a wild pick. I honestly thought for
I
me,
was like
that just
hoping
seemed
to hear like
It's
what movie
definitely,
you
like-
like this year.
Well, yeah.
It was
We'll
definitely
get
like
there.
monoculture.
We'll get there. We don't
Like
have
if
to
we're
let it.
talking monoculture, the Eclipse was a genuinely. And it's weird because so I had a coworker who was super into it, booked plane tickets months out. He was
I did
Portland.
too. I went to Idaho. Yeah.
And I heard about it from him, and I was like, "Oh, haha, you're so weird. You love astronomy."
Yeah.
And then it happened, and all of a sudden, everyone I knew was talking about it. And I
Right.
was like, "Oh,
They were
man.
just an early adopter.
Who knew?
All right, we'll count it. It's in.
Is that all right? I mean,
Yeah.
it was the closest, and this sounds crazy to say, but it's the closest to like a life-changing experience I've ever had. Where
Ooh.
you because you look up, I was not ready
You
for
were
what
you were
happened.
important.
Wait, hold on.
right?
The
Yeah,
Eclipse versus Nicole. What's a bigger?
The Eclipse didn't cheat on me ever, so
You don't know that.
You don't
No,
know that. You
like,
can't know
I saw.
that.
Let's just say I saw the Eclipse.
Right around the same time you saw the
the
eclipse.
experience of the eclipse, like it got colder, like it physically got like 15 degrees colder, which
Yeah.
I was not ready for. It was actually dark, which I wasn't ready for. I was like, there's no way it's going to get dark out.
Yeah.
And it was insane to look up and be like, holy shit, man, I'm small. I mean,
Yeah.
Totality.
dust in the wind, as they say,
Yeah.
you know? But yeah, it was just, I don't know, to me it was the weirdest
Where did
thing.
you observe it from?
We were just outside of Portland in,
Okay.
I forget the city, but some
Never
small
make that
town.
mistake about Oregon again. Right in front of me. You remember every city there.
We might have been in Zigzag.
All right, cool. Okay. Yeah,
Portland was a popular spot. I know some people who were in South Carolina. I know
Yeah.
some people who were in Wyoming.
Yeah.
Ooh, people went to Wyoming.
Well, it's nature, man.
Oh, no,
what
listen,
what better place to
Maybe
be
they hung out with
overwhelmed
my
by the
Uncle Bill
totality?
Jordan.
I've been to Wyoming a bunch of
There's
times.
like a butte to your right.
There's
The eclipse
buttes fucking
going above
everywhere.
you.
It's Butte country.
You can't move from Buttes.
Love big Buttes and you cannot lie.
Yeah. My friend Nate Fernald, who's a stand-up comedian, writer on the Late Late Show,
Sure.
his girlfriend is a astronomer, and they went to a town in Idaho that they figured out had the highest percentage chance of clear skies for that day. So they booked an Airbnb, drove there and everything. It shut down like Eastern Oregon. Like they had to make the freeways one way.
Crazy.
There were so many people. Yeah, so the freeways going east were one way. You couldn't go the other way. You had to take back routes if you wanted to.
We were there watching
the traffic.
There was a professor from, I think, Michigan, University of Michigan.
Yeah.
And his high school teacher that got him into astronomy was also there with him.
Wow.
Watching it. And I think they were crying when it happened. It was nuts.
I was still here in LA, and shadows got a little weird. And that was pretty
it was so strange. It was
yeah, it wasn't much down.
It was like the world had a dimmer switch.
Yeah, it did
and
a little bit.
You weren't expecting it. I was just the sun's gonna look like there was a bite taken out of it.
Yeah.
And then things actually got strange.
They got a little weird, yeah. I was like, why am I... It felt like I had done Molly the night before. I was that out. I was that level out of it.
It made me want to commit crimes. You were this is the witching hour.
You know what it was like?
Judgment
it was
night, dude.
the Santa Ana winds. Which were whipping away this morning when I woke up.
They're
my
back
window
at it.
flew open.
Oh man, when those Santa Ana winds get to blowing,
They almost burnt down all of our richest entertainers' homes.
They got to Rupert Murdoch.
Yeah.
That's how we know they're in the right place.
That was awesome.
who thought
That was
Mother
so
Nature
great.
was going to be the one to take that down?
I know. Chelsea Handler had to evacuate, and I was sad about that. But then Rupert Murdoch's house just fully burnt down, and that was awesome.
Harley.
It's also the homes over there are so big where it's it took out an entire hillside and 4 houses.
4 houses.
Yep.
How weird is it that a dude named Rupert is evil?
Yeah, it sounds like
That's
the
such
voice.
a regal.
Yeah, it sounds like the voice of reason.
Rupert.
The only wrong thing Rupert should do is accidentally give you too much tea, you know?
Yeah. He will. But he'll apologize for it. All right. The Eclipse.
Yeah, I didn't know I was going to make so many waves. I honestly, that was one of my first things that popped in my head for pop culture. I just thought it was it influenced society a bunch, right? I mean,
the moon makes waves. You should have known. You know.
That's where tides come from.
There you go.
Shane thinks he's smart because he has a joke about that.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, you think you're smart because you know the moon causes tides?
The sampler platter. Sampler platter would just.
I bet if you pulled the American public, though, it'd be some incredibly depressingly low number.
Oh, God.
It would be, yeah.
It would be
People
10%, and then 30% thinks God waves his fingers.
Yeah.
The amount of people that can't spell tomorrow.
A lot of times, if you're not by the ocean, you don't get it. I understand.
Right, if you're in Tulsa.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up just north of Tulsa in South Dakota, Sioux Falls to be exact, and I knew from as soon as I was old enough to know that, I knew what
Top of the food, 30, 31.
top of the food chain.
Top of the food chain. Beaver in Oregon, top of the food chain.
Top of the Fuji's
We're
chain.
champions. All right, excellent. So the Eclipse was your first pick.
Ian, what do you got for your first pick?
With my first pick, God, I'm not sure if I want to go head or heart. Well, this one's hard too. My favorite thing this year that I got into was the NBC comedy, The Good Place.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
So
I
much.
hear so
If this is
many
what you
good
mean by
things.
rating my list for picks, I am all for this.
I have another one that one of us is going to
Okay,
get, and I'm just
all
happy
right.
that one of us is going to get it.
Okay.
I almost want you to take it so you can talk about it, but it's not The Good Place.
All right, let's talk about The Good Place.
Let's talk about
Is
The
this
Good
the
Place.
Ted
first.
Danson, Kristen
So
Bell?
before we talk,
Darcy Carden.
there's a big twist that happened this year at the end of the first season.
Yes.
Have you guys seen it, or do
No.
you care if we talk about it?
Well, I don't. Is that bad if
Just
we
no.
wreck it for anyone?
I don't know. Okay, let's talk about it for the twist for the next minute. Or
Yeah,
how long
I
do
feel
you-
like we've given people
Start
fair
spoiler
warning.
alert.
All right, spoiler alert
Okay.
starts now.
So the
Spoiler.
premise
Mom,
of the
don't
show
listen.
is that there's a heaven. They don't call it heaven, but it's basically heaven.
Yeah.
It's set in the afterlife. It's set in the good place
And
where
she gets in when she's not supposed to.
she
right?
gets in when she's not supposed to,
Yeah.
and it's explained. And Ted Danson is the guy who runs. He's basically like the angel who
Sam
runs
Malone,
her,
if those
her
of you don't
parts
know
of it.
who
And I will say, I had sussed out the twist just from internet hints.
Oh, I
by the
hadn't
time I
at
started
all.
watching it.
And it's weird because so this is basically the premise of most of the first season, and she, as part of her quest to become a better person, as taught by her soulmate, who's a quote-unquote soulmate, who's an ethics professor when he was alive, she decides to come out and reveal herself, and then, that becomes the plot of, how do we keep her in the good place, and also part of the cosmology is, 99.9% of humanity, even if you were, a pretty good person, is in hell, which is just really dark, which I think was the first hint that the twist was coming, because
Yeah.
it's actually a very harsh cosmology.
And I should say, I didn't figure out the twist because I'm smart. I read about enough things on the internet where I was like, oh, I see. And I just brought that up because it didn't ruin the show for me.
So on a whim, I watched the finale live, which is also just weird. It's like, it's a sitcom, but it has a forward progressing plot and a very short season. So like, important things happen in every episode.
Right.
And on a whim, I was like, I want to know what happens. I'm going to watch this live. And then the twist is that they are not actually the good place. They are in an experimental version of the bad place. That is, everyone else is a demon, and then the four main characters are like bad people, some of whom think they're good, some of whom know that they're bad people who are out of place, but like the idea is to basically psychologically torture them with like the ethical dilemma of, for example, I'm taking an actually good person's place here. How do I deal with that? Am I going to sacrifice myself? Whatever. Which is just, it totally unlocks Ted Danson's performance.
He's so right.
I think maybe one of my favorite shots in all of TV is like, Kristen Bell figures it out is like, oh, sure, because they can't actually swear, which is a great little detail. And
can't swear?
And you see his face. You see his face just crack from like a sort of steady smile to just a like evil cackle.
Oh, it's so
and it's
good.
like he's revealing himself as a character for the first time. And if you go back, there are all these Easter eggs and really clever stuff in the first season. But now in the second season, which we're in the middle of, I really love it because they don't try to replicate a sense of mystery. But it just means that they can be so much like crazier and weirder and play around with how mutable the world is.
And how it could restart all the time. Yeah,
And it's still so fucking funny.
It's so fucking funny. It's Michael Schur, so it's the Parks and Rec guy who also worked on The Office.
And the writer's room is just insane.
Megan Amram's on there.
Jen Statsky.
Joe Mandy.
Court Jefferson.
Who last year, Demi was on there. Demi was one of the writers.
And I'll say, like, one of the things I love about the show, even before the twist, is, like, it's a network sitcom that is not about a family, and it's not about a workplace, and it's not about, like, a group of 30-something friends just trying to make it in the big city.
Yeah.
Which, like, in and of itself, it is really hard. You think it's really hard to pull off, and then you realize it, like, lets them do so much stranger
so many
jokes.
more things. But it's the kind of show that only somebody who had, like, been on two other very successful sitcoms could have ever pulled off, like, because they never would have given them that much rope before. Like, I don't think anyone but Michael Schur could have gotten this done, like, on network, like, right now. And it's just so fucking fun. The performances are amazing, too. Like, Darcy Carden plays, like, this character who's basically, like, if Siri was, like, a real person who, like, pops up every night.
She's like Clippy.
Yeah, she's like Clippy, like...
Oh, man, shout out to Clippy.
Yeah, shout out to Clippy. That's my second pick, by the way. No, and then, Kristen Bell's great in it. This was Jamila Jamil is in it. Is she like...
Who is not an actress. She was like a TV presenter. And she totally holds her own against this insanely stacked cast.
And she, like...
I will also say...
Yes.
No shade to Ted Danson, because this is absolutely true of him as well, but the two younger men in that cast are very handsome.
They're very handsome.
Very handsome.
Ted Danson handsome?
Yeah, young Ted Danson handsome.
Yeah, fully on that level.
I like the way that sounds. Say it again.
And it's also...
What?
Ted Danson handsome?
Ted Danson handsome? I don't want to get into handsome talks with you anymore.
Don't bring it up.
He has some crazy... Yeah, Manny Jacinto is one of them, right? Who plays...
And it's so funny because, like, you don't even notice with Manny Jacinto because he's so good at playing a total fucking idiot.
He plays this dude from, like, Tampa, Roberto Jacksonville.
He's Florida Man, like, as an actual character.
Yeah. And he's, like... So he plays this fucking idiot, and then, like, there's times when you're like, oh, this dude's, like, gorgeous. And he's, like, a funny actor, too.
And he's wearing, like, a monk robe the whole time, so he's really, like, playing with a handicap. It's great.
But yeah, Jamila, she's like my huge crush. Where I'm just like, how is someone so beautiful? And then she's also like a really good actor. Totally holds her own on there, and it's really funny. And then, the guy who plays Chidi is William Jackson Harper. And he's amazing too.
He was fairly big on the New York theater scene, so I have some friends who are into that who are like, oh, it's really great to see him like break out.
That makes sense.
But I mean, and the way they're able to develop all these characters, so like the twist basically rests on you already know the Manny Jacinto character Jason and Kristen Bell's character Eleanor don't belong because they're obviously like kind of shitty people. But the twist relies on you realize that Jamila Jamil's character, William Jackson Harper's character, so she's like this beautiful society like hyper fundraiser, and you're like, oh, she's raised billions of dollars for charity and she's super talented. That makes sense. She's here, and he's an ethics professor. But then you grow to understand over the course of the season that they also have serious character flaws that would lead to them being in the hypothetical bad place, or because they're not like the very best specimens of community. So he's chronically indecisive, she's really self-centered. And so when you find out that they're in the bad place, you're like, oh, that totally makes sense.
Yes.
And it works, and it's based on characters, which is just a great way to operate your show.
It's just so, it's like my favorite, it's probably my favorite sitcom for some since Seinfeld.
Really?
Yeah, like just those four. Like, I sincerely
watch it
think
all
it is.
today.
It's so good.
You want to watch it today?
We could. I've got shit to do.
Jumping in.
Look, the first season's on Netflix. It's definitely one of those things where it's kind of designed to be binge later on streaming, because right now the season is 13 episodes long. They've aired 8 episodes, and now they're on a 2-month hiatus, which is the same period over which they showed the first 8 episodes, and then they're going to finish the season, which just makes no sense.
But those first 8 have been purchased on our Amazon account, on our Xbox. So, it's all there. It's all there. So that's my first pick.
And now, according to Serpentine Draft Order, we go in the opposite direction.
100% right.
This episode of All Fantasy Everything is brought to you by Hawthorne. Now, if you're listening, you know that we love us some Hawthorne. Hawthorne is a premium men's grooming brand that makes it quick and easy to be confident and be at your best all the time with a skincare and hair care regimen made just for you. So what they do, they use data from hundreds of thousands of customers to recommend the perfect products for your body chemistry, skin type, hair type, and lifestyle. You go through and you take their quiz, which is tailored to you. So you answer all these questions that, you know, it'd be nice if more people asked you. Like, it'd be nice if someone asked me what my skin was like, quite dry, if I gotta say. It'd be nice if somebody asked me what kind of hair type I had, a little bit oily, because I don't really wash as much as I should. It'd be nice if somebody asked what I did on my daily, on my day-to-day. I walk quite a bit and I skateboard every other day. So, I got dry skin, I get sweaty, da-da-da. You take the quiz, that's exactly what they do. They suss all that out, and then they tailor a list specifically to what you're going to need. At the end of the quiz, you'll view a customized list of products tailored to your body, skin, hair, and lifestyle. The products I got that I'm in love with, the body wash and the deodorant. It's fantastic. Hawthorne stands by their customers, so if you're not completely satisfied, they'll retailer your products for free based on your feedback, and they'll pay for the shipping, so there's truly no risk. So make sure you're ready for anything or anyone that comes your way by taking Hawthorne's quiz today. Go to hawthorne.co and use the promo code ALLFANTASY to get 10% off your first purchase. Again, that's HAWTHORNE.co, promo code ALLFANTASY, hawthorne.co, promo code ALLFANTASY. Let's get a round of applause right now. Start clapping. We are excited to announce that Manscaped has launched their Ultra Premium Collection. Believe it or not, we're not talking about just below-the-belt grooming now. We're talking about leveled-up hygiene, a routine with your favorite manly scent. This is an all-in-one skin and hair care kit for the everyday man. It covers you from head to toe, baby. Manscaped is trusted in below-the-waist grooming. Now, let them groom the rest. Join over 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with the code ALLFANTASY. We know that Manscaped, they got you covered with everything below the belt. The Lawnmower 4.0, it gives you a precise trim, everything you could want. But now you can enhance your perfect grooming routine with their Ultra Premium Collection. This package includes everything. It's got the Manscaped Premium Deodorant, which smells amazing. It's got the hydrating body moisturizer for you. If you have tattoos, issues with your dry skin, anything like that, it is designed to help keep your skin feeling fresh, smooth. I have extremely dry skin. This helps out tremendously. And then the 1-2 punch, you got the body wash to lather up, make you feeling amazing when you get out the shower. The 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner, clean up your scalp with one easy step. You don't have to fuss with both hands. You just got it all in one. Plus a free gift, a 3-pack set of lip balm that is made with ingredients such as vitamin E, peppermint, and eucalyptus oil to keep your lips feeling great. I have the lip balm sitting right next to my keys. I bring it with me everywhere I go, and I call it Balm, which is a funny little social bit that the Queen and I do inside the coveted walls of our new castle. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code ALLFANTASY at manscaped.com. Again, that is 20% off plus free shipping with the code ALLFANTASY at manscaped.com. The power of attraction is now in a bottle thanks to Manscaped. This episode of All Fantasy Everything is brought to you by Factor. It is a new year. We are all back in action. We got things to do. We're moving. We're shaking. Do not want to spend time in line anywhere, really, but especially at a grocery store. I don't want to be hunched over the stove. I got stuff to do. I got outside to be. I got kickflips to perform. But I don't have a meal plan or prep. Now, I can leave my meals up to Factor. I don't even have to worry about all that. Factor makes it easy for me to eat clean 24/7 with fresh, never frozen prepared meals that are, that's just a chef's kiss. So delicious. You would not believe that they are actually good for you, and that is the truth. Factor saves you time by delivering these chef-crafted meals right to your doorstep. They eliminate all the hassle, going to the grocery store, meal prep, none of that. You don't have to do anything. No cleanup, all right? There's no dishes to wash, none of that nonsense. Each Factor meal arrives pre-prepared and ready to eat in 2 minutes. It's even faster than if you were to go somewhere and order it at a drive-thru or something. It's faster than that. Plus, it's delivered to your door. They tackle all the tough stuff for you. You don't have to do anything. They are registered dietitians. Expert chefs work hand in hand to create meals with nutritious ingredients and with more than 27 meal options each week. You're never going to be bored. They got you covered. They got vegan, veggie meals, cold-pressed juices, smoothies, energy bites, all of it. What else do you need? Head to go.factor75.com/plans and use the code ALLFANTASY120 to get $120 off over your first 5 weeks of meals. That is an amazing deal. Again, that's code ALLFANTASY120 at go.factor75.com/plans for $120 off. This episode of All Fantasy Everything is brought to you by Feels. Now, CBD isn't about what you feel, it's about what you don't feel. Stress, anxiety, pain, these are things that we could all do without. If you like those things, I don't know what to tell you. That is on you. If you do not like those things, Feels is perfect. It's a premium CBD that will help you clear your head, it'll help you feel your best, it's hassle-free, and it is delivered directly to your door. CBD is going to naturally help you reduce all those things I was just talking about. For me, it's pretty much everything except pain. I don't know, maybe I'm a Terminator, I don't feel pain. Everything else, I definitely do. And with Feels, there's no hangover, there's no addiction, and you can get the right dosage. Like, I'm not a huge weed guy, everybody knows that. But with this, with CBD, you just find what works for you. With me, it's like a drop, but essentially with Feels, you just place a few drops under your tongue, or one drop, or more, whatever you need, and you feel the difference within minutes. Start feeling better with Feels. Become a member today by going to feels.com/allfantasy, and you will get 50% off your first order with free shipping. That is right. Again, that's feals.com/allfantasy to become a member and get 50% automatically taken off your first order with free shipping. Feels.com/allfantasy.
Now it's time for my second pick.
Nailed it.
I could. Okay. No, I'm gonna. Okay. All right. I have to take. I have to go from the world of television to the world of music, and I have to go. Oh shit.
It's a hard pick.
Hard.
You got hard.
Tell.
Yeah,
Please tell that story.
All right.
Sean, before I get to my second pick, our friend Sean Jordan, native of, I don't know if have you brought this up on the podcast?
Have you
from
told
Sioux
anybody?
Falls?
Yeah, I'm from Sioux Falls,
He's
South
from Sioux
Dakota.
Falls, South
I got a
Dakota.
few t-shirts that say that.
Breaking news, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Go ahead. Take it away from here.
It's the most embarrassing thing that ever happened in my life. I got beat into a gang when I was like 11 or 12.
The Crips.
Nice. The South Dakota.
The Sioux Falls, South Dakota Crips.
South Dakota Corn Husks.
Yeah.
So I was-
It's on the podcast.
No, it's the most embarrassing. I mean, you can see that I'm like touching my face.
I
I'm
love
embarrassed.
it.
Yeah.
I love this story.
This is the way to end 2017.
But it paints me like a dick, and I don't want. So I was.
Everyone who's listening to this knows you're not a dick. You're the
Also,
sweetest person
little
in anyone's
boys are
life.
dicks. That's
Yeah.
what you do. You set stuff on fire, and then you figure out what a conscience is.
You're
When
an
I was-
angel and you know that.
You
I was
killed
like
that
12,
drifter.
and I had on a Dickies suit. I had a full Dickies suit on, and
What
I was
color
in
was
middle
it,
school,
Sean?
navy blue, and I think I
He
had.
looked like a janitor.
I think I had Carl Kanais on. Yeah, they probably thought I was like, bring your kid to work there. I had Carl Kanais shoes on, and this kid, Brian Jensen, I walked up and I slapped all of his shit out of his hands, all of his books, and I was like, and I was looking, just picture like a gangster with their chin out, like their head kind of back, and I was like, pick your shit up.
Picture a 12-year-old kid.
Like a young O-Dog.
Yeah.
That doesn't look a thing like
No, not even kinda.
And I go, pick your shit up, and he stuck his chin out, and he goes, no, and I was like, you got heart. And I walked in, and I had like 20 kids behind me. Oh, I'm like, I'm turtling up, I'm so
Oh,
embarrassed.
that is the
Great.
best.
How is it the
That's
same
great.
person?
What did you think you were doing?
You're like the
What did you
only
think
person
was
in the world
happening?
who is like, when I was 12, I was like in power.
Yeah.
I was not being
Yeah.
bullied. I was the bully.
I was the bully.
Oh, I
Whereas
hate
the
it.
rest of us in entertainment and media
Yeah,
are on the other
I
side of
love-
that spectrum.
I love that you gave him a pass. You were like,
Okay, you got heart.
blood.
You got heart.
Not even a heart, hort with an O in it.
Somebody should hold me
Because
down and
as we've
tattoo that on my
established,
forehead
this
for
is
doing it.
Well, it'll happen.
Yeah, someone's
So-
gonna. The rest of the Super Bowl. So that, with my second pick, speaking of the Crips, I'm going to go ahead and take somebody who's not a Crip, somebody who actually put out a line of tennis shoes at one point, one blue, one red, so as to bridge that gap. A native of Compton, Kendrick Lamar, and his album Damn, which came out this year.
Yeah.
Sure. Yep.
You know you're supposed to listen to it backwards?
I do know that, and they just put out the
Oh, you just like reorder it?
Yeah. It's the story goes backwards. Like
Okay.
but it's good forward. That album's great. I got
it's so good.
a song about his mom. Just like, fuck, man. Yeah, I get it, man.
It was just, and I know we've talked about this on the podcast before, so we won't belabor it too much. But David, you and I, not huge fans of like To Pimp a Butterfly.
It's not my album.
It's not my favorite. I recognize that people really love it, and I believe them. But
I understand it's important.
it's not the way I want to fuck with
I
Kendrick so
understand
much.
it's important.
And I think this album did such a great. Just because I like Thundercat, okay, but like. When I'm driving to a party, I don't want to listen to Thundercat so much.
Here's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't
Like,
love jazz.
They did a good
I
job
said
of
it.
like splicing the importance, as you put it,
Yeah.
of To Pimp a Butterfly with sort of the catchiness and drive and momentum of Good Kid, Mad City.
100%.
That's
He
pretty
found
accurate.
like a great middle ground.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
perfect. The two became one. And I
Hum-
thought, I
The
mean, that's
humble
what he was
video
gonna do.
is incredible.
Oh, the videos are amazing.
It's
Yeah.
crazy good.
Man, if I could just get a karate suit,
You got to get a karate
it
suit.
would all
boy.
change for me.
In 2017, we're getting you a karate suit, blue Dickie suit.
Which is holy shit. I couldn't keep a straight face if I had a blue Dickie suit on.
I couldn't keep a straight face if you had a blue Dickie suit.
And I'm doing nunchucks going, you got heart.
The video for Humble was amazing. The video for DNA was amazing.
DNA
too.
was my
Yeah.
favorite. That was
Yeah.
my favorite. I like that video the best.
When they're all standing under that underpass and like the camera follows his head movement
Yeah.
every time while he's rapping, like that's a really
yeah,
cool shot.
and Don Cheadle shout out.
Yeah.
Denver Mile High represent.
he does
that's
kill it in
right.
that.
Oh yeah.
Cheadle and the Humble one. Yeah, it's just such a great album. Loyalty with Rihanna's a great song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can just listen to it so many times. Like when it came out, I just like ate off that for
Yeah.
a week.
Also,
I-
just whenever Rihanna shows up on anything to rap, it's like,
Hell yeah.
So
just
good.
make your
Even
rap
just
album.
To rap. She
We
should
all
make
want
a
it.
rap album.
She could do it. We all
Yeah.
want it. It would be great.
She
Yeah.
doesn't care what we want.
Boy, that
That's why
would
we
be
love it.
popular.
That's
Yeah,
why she's,
that's a good
that's why
point.
she is who she
That
is.
is. That's why
But she
Riri's doing
clearly
it.
wants to do it enough, and she's doing it on a bunch of features.
I
So
know. LeBron should say, "Okay, I'll finally sleep with you if you make a rap album," and then we
If
have
they-
5-6 rap albums.
as if they
I
haven't
understand
already.
that they
Come
both-
They
on.
probably have.
I understand
loves
that they
LeBron.
both have significant others or whatever,
Yeah.
but that kid needs to be made for the world.
Okay,
For the
she
world,
doesn't
that
have
A
a
kid.
Rihanna
significant other.
LeBron baby?
She has a Saudi prince that the paparazzi caught her fucking.
That's
Yeah.
That's
Okay,
a
that's
crucial difference.
Which is because she's a boss.
yes, because she's too good
She's
to
like,
be weighed
it's
down.
LeBron James or royalty.
Right.
I've
That's who
had
gets over
that
her.
that thought before where I was like, who would I be okay with Rihanna like settling down and being in a power couple with? And I don't have an answer.
It's hard. Because LeBron, there'd be the tragedy of his failed relationship.
It would haunt her.
Yeah.
It would haunt her.
And
If
that
we
would,
could have
that
an
would bother
amicable
everyone.
divorce,
Right.
and then a repartnership,
Right.
maybe that's how we need to do it.
LeBron's wife is eaten by a whale.
I feel like
LeBron
yeah.
quits the NBA to
What a
hunt that
trash-
whale, but after 2 years, he never finds it, and he finally returns to port, and Rihanna's there waiting with his kids.
with a
Oh,
sign
damn.
that says the king's still gonna be the king.
Yeah, right, exactly. 23 written on her stomach and suntan
King
lotion.
of
The
the
kids have already given their written approval.
Yeah, yeah,
They're
yeah,
like,
that-
I am fine with this.
They sing a Edelweiss style song, like from The Sound of Music, about how much they love Rihanna.
Rihanna is Maria for our time.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was just great. Even though the album had U2 on it, which could, like, anybody else would have been a weird curveball that would have ruined it.
Yeah.
It's still...
So great.
Kendrick made it work somehow.
That's
It was
that's
just...
a Kanye move.
It is a Kanye move. Like putting Chris Martin on a song, and you're like,
Yeah.
okay.
But I'm not
All
mad.
right.
I still like that song.
Okay, yeah. I'm coming home again. It is a good song.
I do like that song.
But just the return to form, at least from, again, like, not critically, because everybody loved To Pimp a Butterfly,
Yeah,
but, like,
yeah.
to the Kendrick that I
He
hoped
was
would come
rapping
back
his
at
ass
some
off
point.
on Damn.
Just rapping his ass
He was
off.
rapping his ass off.
Rapping
on
his
Damn.
ass off.
Like rapping.
Rapping, dude.
Not that he wasn't on. I'm a big fan of people rapping their ass off, and I feel like
You know what I said the first time I heard Damn?
what?
In my car, I go, he got hard.
You're hard.
You know, not to bull anyone over with shock, but I am maybe not the world's most dedicated rap fan or informed rap critic.
That's not
And
true.
I,
Yes,
Why do you have a
I
Snoop Dogg
enjoyed this
tattoo on your neck?
album.
You even saw the bridge.
I greatly enjoyed this
Jasper
long
Rap.
play of musical tracks.
Yeah.
You know,
It was great. No, it was great. I loved it.
I
And it
did
made me
too.
happy because it makes me feel like the next album is gonna be like a rapidy rap
fucking
rap
hope
album
so.
again.
I hope so.
I just want like Nostalgia Part 2.
he's
Yes.
also at a really steady clip. Like
Yeah.
he's basically had a major release a year
What's
every
that
year
great
for
music?
like five years,
Yeah.
right?
He's
Yeah.
like the Black Pearl. He's not uncatchable.
Yeah.
He's in his own.
He's his
in
own.
league
He's
right
his own.
now.
He's like headlining Coachella and doing
Yeah,
like huge
it's like-
festival, but also being weird. He's weird. Even
He's
on
super
Damn, he's
weird.
fucking weird.
He's super weird.
Yeah.
And he beat like everybody in his class.
Beat everybody.
I think he beats Drake as far as like going down in.
He
the
beat Drake on
halls.
numbers and definitely on like rapping ability.
Yeah.
Damn
And that's,
outdid,
by the way, I like Drake. That's
I
not
do
like
too.
saying-
I fuck with Drake heavy, but yeah, Kendrick outdid
He
him on
beat J.
every
Cole. He's just
scorecard.
like, He's
Yeah,
the best one.
yeah. Beat other rappers who
He's
will
young.
not
He's like
mention.
30. Get out of here.
Oh God,
Out there in
I
a-
forget that.
Out there in a karate suit, just a tiny little man in a karate suit rapping his
Man.
ass off. And
How
that
did
is
you
why
even
he's my
think to
second
wear that
pick.
karate suit?
It's a crazy move.
He's like, you know what I'm gonna wear right now.
And the visuals, he had like a Bruce Lee Enter the Dragon type video.
Yep.
Yeah.
I watched his Coachella set, and that was like broadcast behind him on these huge screens while he was performing.
Yeah, man, that guy. That's a hell of a guy.
We're lucky to have him.
Hell of a guy, right?
Hell of a guy,
We're
right?
lucky to have him. Good luck at the Grammys, Kendrick. He listens to this podcast. Sean Jordan, it's time for your second pick.
All right.
It's like an earthquake.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick the star
Yeah,
Beetlejuice.
just go down through natural occurrences.
The autumn.
There was a tornado. I am picking, you fucking assholes. I'm gonna pick The Big Sick.
Oh, there you
Nice.
go.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I brought it back. See that? That's like
Excellent plane movie.
Excellent playing movie.
So
Starring
I love
friend of the podcast, Kumail
story.
Nanjiani, and co-written by friend of ours, Emily Gordon.
Yep.
Great,
Yeah.
person you are rooting for does good things.
So much.
Dude.
Like,
Those two
it's
are
also been funny, it's been so successful that a lot of people I talk to know him as, the guy from The Big Sick, and,
Right.
at best, the guy from Silicon Valley who just happened to make this movie.
Right.
I feel like there are a lot of people who don't follow comedy, or obviously this way,
Right.
are in comedy, who don't really, understand that he was an active, and, I remember listening to him on a podcast tell this insane story of how he met his
Yeah.
wife and what happened,
Yeah.
and being like, this is crazy, and to see them actually get that out in the world,
And actually
was just
make
so
it a
And
nice.
it's
Yeah, that movie
perfect.
ruled.
I love romantic comedies. I
Yeah.
absolutely love them, and
They
it's
got
a
heart,
perfect
that's why.
romantic comedy. They break my heart
They
sometimes.
bring your horn.
It's perfect. Ray Romano
Oh,
kills it.
Oh,
That's
also-
where-
Holly Hunter.
Goddamn Hunter.
And
part where they're getting
Shout
kicked
out
out
to
of the
Kurt was so
Yeah.
funny.
Oh yeah, Kurt was good at it.
Also, I just want to say, by the way, we were at that premiere party, same camouflage shorts I was wearing. Ian dressed up real nice, me dressed like an idiot.
I was trying to impress a girl at the time.
Yeah, I was clearly not.
You stroll in with Lance Bangs wearing camo shorts.
I got a backpack.
Yeah.
Camo shorts are impressive.
Yeah, these very ones.
These camouflage
Ray
shorts.
Romano saw our boy in camo shorts. Or
Yep.
did he? They're camo shorts. He may not have
Exactly.
seen you. Did you
Couldn't see
agree?
I
them.
also feel like it's important to note for the audio record that these aren't traditional military camo.
No.
It's an actual forest land.
Oh, I'm a
stand.
real tree. I'm a real tree guy.
It's a tree
I'm not-
stand.
I'm not gonna. This is real tree 4.
That's Big Buck Hunter.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when you walked into the premiere, was it like the intro to Belly? When you-
Well, when I walk into any room,
It
it's like
wasn't-
the intro to Belly.
It wasn't
so yeah,
quite that blue.
I just sing cold, fresh air.
Like, I got levels, pal. This elevator goes all the way up.
And then Holly Hunter's pale.
Yeah,
In her
man.
weird southern
She did
accent.
so
Hi,
great,
Dive.
too.
Yeah.
She did
Everyone.
so great. That movie was.
Zoe Kazan was great too.
Yeah.
I will also
The whole
say,
thing.
I think the thing that really elevated that movie for me and made Emily's presence behind it creatively felt was all the stuff with Kumail was amazing. I was sobbing during his stand up breakdown.
Oh,
Sure.
yeah.
But the
Man.
fact that they have
I
her
could
come
cry right
out
now
of it
thinking
and
about
be
it.
hey, to me, like, I didn't go through any of this, like, emotional revelations. I still just remember us having a giant fight.
Right.
Like, I need
Right.
time to process that. So, like, we're not just gonna magically get back together.
Right. It's not all good, like, right now just because you went through some shit. Yeah.
And it ends on, like, obviously a hopeful note, but, like, it's just a note.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, Kamal went to Montreal.
Yeah, Camille did go to
Camille went to
Montreal.
Montreal.
Yeah.
That scene where
Well,
He's doing stand up at the Bell House. That's definitely the Bell House, right?
Yeah.
They shot in New York.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I think it was. That was the Bell House, right? That they
I think
shot the
so,
stand-up
yeah.
scenes
Yeah.
in?
Also, friend of the pod as well, Ramon Rivas.
Oh, yeah.
Big old accidental comedy sticker. In
That's right.
Because they're just like down for it.
Yeah.
I love it.
It was such good. Everyone was so good. I mean, it made me reconsider Ray Romano completely.
Oh,
I never saw Men of a Certain Age or whatever.
Oh, did you not see Vinyl?
I didn't see Vinyl either. No.
I didn't see it.
The
never
hit
watched
HBO series.
I was saving
I
it.
will say he was honestly good on a terrible show.
Yeah.
But that was sort of the beginning of like, it wasn't enough for me to be like, holy shit, Ray Romano. But it was enough to be like, he
Like,
could act dramatically.
oh, okay.
Ray
Yeah.
Romano is low-key hilarious. Did you ever see that? It was a
Oh, his
shitty
stand-up
movie.
is fucking amazing.
His stand-up is
Yeah.
amazing. Did you ever see him in that movie, The Grand?
No.
With Woody Harrelson about that poker tournament?
Uh-uh.
God, dude, he's so... Ray Romano, that's like one of my... Ray Romano's so funny.
Broke Late is a stand-up, too.
Yeah.
Not late, but like, yeah.
Yeah, like, he was like a grown man.
Yeah, with kids.
Yeah, he had kids and stuff. Little Dangerfield.
The Big Sick is so good. I hope it gets... It got kind of snubbed at the Golden Globes.
So I think SAG did a good job with that, if I'm remembering the like award season death march correctly.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's getting some snubs, and like I'm hoping there's some momentum for maybe a Holly Hunter or a screenplay a nod would be great.
Awesome, too. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, best
I don't know.
original. Why not? Throw him a bone.
everybody liked it though. It was received so well, which is what I like about
Yeah.
it. Like all the
Yeah.
critics just loved and it got all the love it deserves, and that's awesome.
And it did well commercially.
It did, right? For
Yeah.
a movie with, like, I'm sure a tiny
Well, I
budget.
Amazon is not always good at handling like how to sell a good thing to the rest of the world. See Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which no one seems to know about.
Hilarious.
Is that what you've seen it?
I watched the whole
Amazing.
thing. It's
I
I'm a-
love it.
I'm a fucking Amy Sherman Palladino head, and I haven't seen it yet.
Shout out
But
to
I'll
me.
let
Exactly,
others
like
see it.
case in point.
Yeah.
But for this, they actually did like a really slow rollout. They built the word of mouth. It did well at the box office, and now you can just stream it on Amazon Prime, so you get the best of both worlds.
Fantastic. And I might this weekend. It's the only movie I've been to. I got to go to the Hollywood premiere of, which was a thrill.
That's
That was awesome.
Very
I could tell you were jeans on, team strong.
Team strong.
He looked real cool.
All dressed up. All dressed up.
I came from another party. That's why I didn't have time to put pants on.
Yeah.
And then Emily gave me a hug, and I was like, I'm sorry I'm wearing shorts at your premiere. She was like, I wouldn't like it if you weren't wearing shorts at my premiere.
Emily's the best.
She's the coolest one. She's the coolest.
God, Emily's the best. Come
You
in.
know what
They're
I miss?
both the best.
I miss the meltdown.
I
Me
do.
too.
We did a show at Meltdown last night. Our
Yeah.
friend, which was an amazing show, on deck. But God, it made me miss that scene.
It's
Oh.
really, it was such a great vibe, and
Oh.
like I understand that they are busy and have lives, but
Yes.
like it's just so hard to build that like sense of
There's
community. From
Something
the
good
ground
is
up.
coming though. I can't even.
What?
I'll tell you guys after.
Okay.
I
All
can't
right,
even.
we have a lot to talk about.
But it was just like I feel like for a lot of people who are either like literally in the industry or just like have followed him for a while, it was just such a great feeling of like you were getting what you deserved, you were getting the recognition you deserved,
Yes,
this is, like,
that's-
the vehicle you deserved. It's just a great,
The good
nice
vibes about it.
feeling.
That's why I'm so
Yeah.
thrilled for him.
they're just
Good when
such
good stuff
they're
happens
just
to
such
these guys.
fucking dope people. Those
When I first
yeah.
moved here, because I never got to do the Meltdown, but I emailed Emily just, hey, I live in LA, I'd love to do the show. And she hit me back, and I needed it. She hit me back, she's like, sorry I didn't respond right away. It was like a day later, and she goes, we'll definitely have you on. I think you're very funny, and I wouldn't say this if I wasn't. I wouldn't lie to you. And I was
I
like,
think the
holy
best
shit.
detail of that is she said sorry for not responding right away after a
day.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You are not obligated to say that in that
No,
very
no,
short
you're not.
period of time. That,
I don't
that's
say
a
it until 2 weeks
punctual-
go by.
Same here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mom, I was busy.
She's a fucking
Email with your mom.
No, we faced
To whom it may concern, Ray.
I watched David and his mom FaceTime once. It was the cutest thing I've ever seen.
That's adorable.
She is awesome.
Yeah, she rules.
Speaking of moms, the parents in the Big Sick.
Yeah.
What a great. Also,
Yeah.
like the dad
Oh,
is
God,
a
the Pakistani
massive
family.
Bollywood star.
Is he really?
Is he
yeah,
really?
he's like huge, and they got him for this like cute American movie, which is
It was great.
so
That
nice.
scene where he tells his parents they're not going to get rid of him. You're not kicking me out of the
Oh
family.
God.
I could
Oh,
like
it's so good.
Flutters.
maybe it's the
Flutters.
hangover, but I'm choking up a little bit.
I see you. I see you wiggling.
You know why?
Because it's David's second pick.
No, you got heart.
Why y'all laughing?
Why y'all laughing? David, it's time for your second pick.
My second pick, maybe people are going to be mad. I don't give a shit what you think about it. I'm picking the Ball family.
Oh, fuck you. Fuck you.
Ball family. They beef with the president?
No.
They beef with Nas? What? In
As someone
one family?
newly qualified to speak on all matters relating to sport, I
David,
really
David,
enjoy them.
Seriously, though, put
They
your
went
shirt
to
back.
Chinese jail? These dudes are living! Oh my
They
god!
have a Facebook show.
Have a Facebook show. Dad's teeth still fucked
Ball
up.
in the
Still fucked up, dude.
You're even on a LeVar Ball?
I just remember. I saw. Did you see that video of LeVar Ball? I think he was leaving the draft, and people are booing him, and he just takes off his big Baller Brand cap and just throws it into the crowd.
I love it.
Yeah.
I
I
bought
love
a
it.
Big Baller t-shirt. Did it come to me? No.
It costs
Exactly.
I haven't received
But
it.
that's the distillation of the Ball family in general. All this hype, all this excitement,
I'm gonna
and then
drink
the
that
t-shirt
snake
never
oil.
comes.
I'm gonna
You're
drink that
drinking
snake.
so much snake oil.
I'm gonna drink it. He cut his hair off.
Yeah.
Playing better.
But you don't
Therefore, to
care.
lift the weight.
You don't
He's
care
not
the
playing
one that
better.
shot is fucked up. I also don't know what that means. I
Ugly
just know
shot.
his shot is
He's
fucked
gonna
up.
Shot
Bad
is
shot.
fucked up.
Ugly shot.
2 points a-
Intangibles, though. Come
2
on.
points a game?
No,
2
he's better
points a
than that.
game? Come
He's
on.
better than 2 points a game, but he's not good.
Listen,
He
man.
has a chance to shoot like 30% for the field goals. I mean, I don't want to get too, but 30% from field goals, 50% from fucking the free throw line, and 20% from three.
He's
Anyway,
also a rookie in the NBA.
so he's Donovan Mitchell.
I also think it makes the
Okay,
Lakers
alright.
exciting again. It's fun to have also they're a hometown family. They're out in Chino.
Yeah.
They
Say
all go to
goodnight to the
UCLA.
bad
and
guy.
I
stuff.
hate the Lakers, so I'll never be able to separate the
Okay.
two.
Say goodnight to the bad guys.
I
I
have
just-
no partisan affiliation to any sports team.
Yeah.
And
No, they fly no
I've-
flag.
I've considered going to a Lakers game.
Go just to go
That
see
is
the
the
circus?
highest praise I can
Yes.
give. I haven't spent the money,
Yes.
but
I love it. Just your dad was beefing with the president
I know.
while you were beefing with Nas.
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me?
All right.
Are you kidding
I like
me?
that turn. He's like, all right.
It's incredible. You can make a movie about this year of his life. It's like
You're beefing with Nas, your dad's beefing with the president, and your brother's beefing with China.
your brother's in Chinese jail. And your
for
little brother just bought a-
shoplifting. Who needs to shoplift?
In
Slash,
China.
what could you be shoplifting in China that
Holy
is better
crap.
quality than
I-
you could buy in America?
I've thought this a lot.
No offense
I've
to China.
run this over around in my head. If I was in China and then all my friends were stealing and I was on a trip, I'd probably steal.
Yeah, it's still two.
I mean, I get it if the friends were, but then that still same question. What were the friends stealing? Why?
You know,
They were
just
stealing
young
like
rowdy
Gucci,
kids.
Gucci shit. They were stealing
Was it
like
Gucci
high-end
shit?
luxury items.
You know
Oh,
what?
okay.
Maybe those
Well-
aren't good friends.
Oh.
Maybe you need to think about
Hey, maybe you chill
Next
out.
time
You
you're
think about the
fucking
influence in your
China,
life.
David.
Somebody on one of the Ringer basketball podcasts had the idea that maybe he was shoplifted from China because he knew his dad was going to pull him out of UCLA and pull his brother out of high school to go make them play overseas.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to go to China.
They don't look that. Oh my god.
Right?
In,
So now
in
instead
Ringer
they're-
Plugs,
now
I
they're
will
doing-
say one of the first features we ran
Yeah.
was about the Ball family when, Lonzo hadn't even gone to college yet.
Yeah. I
And
remember that.
by one Danny Chow,
Yeah.
friend and colleague. But I just knew of them as the subject of this very scholarly, very detail-oriented feature about form and Steph Curry's influence, and then they just became this crazy pop culture phenomenon.
I
I
just
was like,
I love it, man. I love that they're a unit too. I mean, say what you will about LeVar Ball, that man believes in his kids.
He does believe in
You
his
know what I
kids.
mean?
What is it?
He went to the Lakers. He did it. For whatever you can say about that dude, he did it, man.
Yeah.
Danny Chow's got all the LA food plugs, right? Is he?
yep.
How do you get on? How do you?
Correct.
Is there,
You
is there a
okay.
pa-
Well,
Patreon
all three of
that I
us
can
will
do
go
that?
out for a drink sometime.
Yes,
you'll
alright,
you'll see
cool.
him in action.
I just want to plug on the good restaurants in LA. Anyway, I guess if we're gonna respect the Kardashians, we do have to respect the Ball. Here's what I admire
That
about
story's
the,
not told.
I
either
appreciate the Balls as the male Kardashians.
Yeah, I
they
kinda
are
think that's
the
what it is.
masculine answer
They're
to.
from somewhere just outside of LA.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but still definitely in its orbit. Yeah,
Yep.
and they're subverting the system.
I
Here's
just
what I respect about the Ball family. is that, like, I mean, that they were going to be taken advantage of by the NCAA, which is a horrible institution.
Yeah, 100%.
And, like, LeVar was like, you're not doing that to me. We're going to make our own fucking money.
Yeah.
And he did the
Yeah,
same
they're
thing.
not getting raided by the fucking FBI.
Right, exactly. And he did the same thing with the shoe companies, who are also getting raided by the FBI. He's like, no, we're not, Nike, we're not going to make 10 cents for every dollar that Nike makes.
Also,
Yeah.
amazing Kenan Thompson character.
That's
He is
100%
so
great Kenan
good
Thompson
at
character.
playing him.
He really is.
It's so perfect.
I'm worried that in doing all this, LeVar is, like, Lonzo I think is going to be okay and we'll figure
Lonzo
it
will
out.
be fine.
And will be a serviceable NBA player. I'm worried about, like, LaMelo and LiAngelo.
I
Like,
think LaMelo is
Just
right.
love hearing those names.
I think LeVar is right about LaMelo. I think he was going to be a one and done or whatever.
LaMelo was never going to be an NBA player. Anyway.
LiAngelo worries me because he's
The
like
young one.
I feel like he loves it too. Like Lonzo is very much like when you see Lonzo's videos and stuff, it kind of feels like he's not like with the circus as much as they are.
He's riding the wave. He's not
Yeah,
getting caught up in
but
it. Yeah.
LiAngelo is like LiAngelo looked cooler than Lonzo on Lonzo's draft.
Immediately, yeah.
He had that like LiAngelo's with this shit. So like, but who knows?
But now he's 16 and gotta go live in Lithuania. I hope it turns out. But I'm like, this is like maybe like
Scenic
go to high
Lithuania.
school. Yes,
Take
scenic
a
Lithuania.
dip in the Baltic Sea.
Vilnius. Spend it right in time for January too. Is when they're gonna get there.
Is that what they get there?
Yeah.
What do they get?
You know,
paid?
I've heard St. Petersburg is a short ferry ride away.
Right? They can go shoplift in Russia. It's gonna be great.
Let's get some shit over there.
It's shit. Like I'm like, okay, so he's not gonna get to be a kid now, and I'm a little. Although I
Was
guess
he ever gonna
that's
be a
a good
kid?
question. That's a good question. Maybe.
Right.
I mean,
I don't think that's like a kid-friendly household.
no,
Like,
that's true.
yeah.
I don't know. I hope it all turns out for the best. I hope
Me
it
too.
ends up being the Kardashians. I'm so worried it's going to be like a tragic American tale at some point.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still being written because they're definitely learning as they go.
But they have been, to your pick, one of the most intriguing pop culture stories.
It really has.
It's
Yeah.
been.
Yeah, it
It's
goes
been a
the
way.
eclipse,
The Eclipse.
the concept of snow, the Ball family, and
Sexual
then,
harassment.
and then sexual intriguing pop culture story.
It
Yeah,
really has.
it's
Yeah.
been.
Yeah, it goes
It's been a
the
way.
eclipse,
The Eclipse.
the concept of snow, the Ball family, and
Sexual
then,
harassment.
and then sexual harassment.
I'm glad that we all finally
Sex
agree that the
crimes.
Eclipse
Wins.
was the most
Yeah.
important thing that happened to popular culture this year.
Yeah.
Sort of a news situation. I ain't wrong.
You're wrong.
Okay. Do
Allison,
I
it's time
get,
for
do I
your
get to go?
second, and then your third pick. So
All
it's
right.
the Serpentine Draft.
So I'm generally not on board with like the competitiveness factor here, but
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go ahead and rub it in your faces because I feel like this is a very obvious pick. I feel like it's a very strong addition to my slate.
I already
I'm shocked
picked the
we haven't
Eclipse,
gotten
though.
to it. Next to the Eclipse, Get Out.
Damn it!
Oh, yeah.
Damn it! That was
Of course.
my
Yeah.
See, I was shocked when you were winding up to Bodak Yellow. I was like, okay, we're gonna talk about Get Out.
Ball family,
Um,
Ball family would have been on the board still, I think.
Yeah.
Uh,
It was a bad
I don't know if
call.
Allison was going to take the Ball family.
yeah, that's my next one.
It was
Sorry.
a
But
damn bad call.
I will say about Get Out, I heard good things about it, but it was so incredible to see a movie that is not a piece of IP like Star Wars and is
Thank
or
God.
Marvel
Yeah.
to actually enter the monoculture. Like people were making, because it's so smart and insightful and comes up with such an amazing, allegory in the final twist that like within a week people were making memes about the sunken place
Yeah.
and the
Mhm.
spoon
The
and
run.
the way that
Shout out
just
to Black
instantly.
Instagram, by the way, for those sunken places.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Is there anything more powerful than Black Instagram and Black Twitter?
No.
there
It's
is
like the
nothing.
funniest-
I owe them
it's
an
the
enormous
funniest thing
debt.
out
This is
there.
like they're being subsidiarily honored by this pick.
With Get Out, yeah.
But it's because the final metaphor that is revealed is so good, but also just the experience of watching that movie in a crowded theater was like you legitimately. The whole time I'm like, where is this going? What are
Yeah.
they doing? And I kept trying to guess where all the hints they're dropping. I genuinely was so surprised, but they keep you so engaged. Just like the script is so tight.
Yeah.
It's so, and you can tell he's been writing it since the Obama administration, and it's weird because in a certain way it's kind of out of date now that our present political moment is so engaged with overt racism.
Right.
But it just struck such a chord, and it was so amazing to see a movie be able to do that and basically make all its young cast. That was Allison Williams' first film role.
Yeah.
Daniel Kaluuya was the guy from that Black Mirror episode, and now he's going to be a star.
He's
Yep.
so good at
Caleb
that.
Landry
He
Jones
really was.
is in everything.
Yeah, he is. What a move for Jordan Peele, too.
Also,
I know.
shout out to
Yes.
Rel.
Yes.
That's what I was gonna
Although
say.
I will also say,
Shout out to
maybe
Rel.
the best casting was avatar of white liberal idealism, Josh Lyman, as the evil dad, was incredible.
That movie was the scariest movie I've ever seen.
But funny, I have no problem with it submitting as a comedy for the Golden Globes. I was like, I laughed more at that than I did at, like, Rough Night.
I laughed, but also, like, it was scary. Like, I don't know. For me personally, it was scary from beginning to end. Like, him walking on that street and be like, they're not going to fucking get me. And you're just like, and then, like, being out there with, you're, like, out there and you're like, this is scary that I'm out here. And then the one person I'm supposed to rely, I'm just stressed talking about it. Like, it was so... Bro, that chord was a chord I never thought.
I mean, that moment in a movie theater where the police car pulls up, you see the look on her face, you see the look on his face, they let it sit for like 5 seconds, and then Lil Rel gets out, was like, I saw some tweet earlier that was sort of like, oh, it was really cool to be in the theater and like all the black people like gasped instead of cheered when the cop car showed up, and I was like, at the ArcLight Hollywood, very white audience. Like, the magic of that movie to me was that everyone in that theater who wasn't black, like, got what it was supposed to mean. Because that movie is so good at instilling you in his perspective. And
it's direct.
Like, and that's what's so inspiring about, like, I know a lot of its box office success was due to black audiences, but it's also, like, if just a white middle American casual moviegoer is like, oh, cool, I like horror, I like thriller, and then just, like, gets this message... That's cool to me.
It was the best movie I saw this year.
It was great.
Scared the shit out of me. And just, Rel is the best.
I'm so happy.
If
you guys ever get to hang out with little Rel, he's the coolest dude.
So what is Jordan Peele now? Is he Mike Nichols? Is he like Woody Allen?
So he's doing
like,
a Twilight Zone series for CBS All Access, which seems like a bizarre follow-up to me.
CBS All Access?
Yes, the weird bootleg streaming service that has the Star Trek thing that no one watches, which is good, but no one watches it.
I can't fully comment on CBS All Access.
Neither.
No comment.
As an employee of the All-Seeing Eye, but I don't get it.
I can't
I will say,
it seems like a weird move.
Both of their shows are great, but like they're asking people to pay. It's like that and like the 24-hour feed of the Big Brother. Yeah, it's the Good Wife spinoff.
And you can watch all the CBS shows, but it's the Good Wife spinoff.
But it's like instead of, I think you need to build up a critical mass of programming where people are going to pay $6 a month and not have commercials. It's really crazy.
10. Yeah, it's a weird move. Anyway, but so Jordan
Hulu with commercials is the same amount of money.
Yeah,
it seems like a weird move.
Very wild.
Jordan Peele, so he like great sketch actor, very funny actor himself, but like now moving into directing and like it's gonna be interesting to see like where his career goes, like what happens with that guy.
Yeah.
Like, so is he directing the Twilight Zone?
So I think he's writing and probably directing some of it, but it's a little more like the voice behind.
Yeah.
And then I think, doesn't he have something with Spike Lee that they're collaborating on?
Oh, there's a joint coming up?
There might be a joint coming out.
There's a joint.
I'm going to be honest, Spike Lee's like 50-50 for me.
Yeah, but she's got to have it.
She's got to have it.
You wrote about that recently,
Yeah,
right?
I think it starts strong and it's really interesting and it's smart to try to, like, it serves the theme of it better to, like, expand it. So, like, in the movie, she's always like, I'm more than these men, but, like, you only ever see her interacting with men, and the show is, like, you see more of her life.
You see more, because I've seen the movie, I've never seen the show. I still haven't watched
it. Like, take your time with that. It's not super urgent, but it's more like, the show expands it in a way I really liked, but it tries to update it in a way that's like, this does not resonate with me.
Is Mars a white guy?
No, he's half black, half Puerto Rican.
Okay.
Which I liked. Like, the way they update the characters makes a lot of sense,
right.
But tonally, they could have used some 20-somethings in that writer's room.
Okay.
I think. That is my take. But anyway, Get Out was wonderful. I can proceed to the next
Excellent
pick if you want.
Yeah.
I think that was strong. I think that gives me, in this fake competition,
Absolutely.
I think I have the upper
There's
hand
no
right
such
now.
thing as a fake competition.
Okay.
Whoa, put your shirt back on.
I feel like it's the TV... Or no, wait. Actually, I'll get to TV later.
Okay.
My favorite movie
Will
of the
you,
year...
though?
We'll get
Will
to...
you?
Well, you're either going to steal my pick or I'm going to get to it first.
Yeah.
So, my favorite movie this year, I love Get Out. It's definitely my top 10. I still think my current favorite is Call Me By Your Name. Holy
I haven't
shit.
either.
All right, well, I'm just going to
just
sell it
got
to
a
you, and that's going to be
screener
the
at
whole extent of the band.
Please do.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Not a great podcast bit, but
No, I think it will be.
so you know the plot. It's a gay coming of age story adapted by a novel. It's
Army Hammer's 140-second chance.
Armie Hammer does some dancing.
Yeah.
It's great. He got the moves.
Yeah.
But it's also funny because I know the director, like not personally, but I know his work. He's like an Italian art house guy.
Whoa.
Like his last movie was the one where like Tilda Swinton basically plays David Bowie. It's also a movie about rich people lounging around at a vacation destination with an iconic dance scene. So
I'm into that.
he's got some interests,
Yeah.
you know, he's got some motifs. And then the other one of his I'm watched is called I Am Love, which is like in Italian, and Tilda Swinton is in it. Like not even just like not populist fare, like it's not even like he was getting Academy Award nominations.
It's like a perfume commercial.
And now because I think it's like because it's like quote unquote socially conscious and it has themes that resonate or underrepresented, this is getting like so much exposure. I think it's like probably it's better, but like everyone should go back and check out his older stuff.
Yeah.
But like Chalamet is a revelation. It sucks that he's gonna have to run against Daniel Day-Lewis's retirement
Final
performance.
movie, right? Yeah.
Like
Yeah, man.
he's gonna get so screwed, but it's amazing. Sufjan Stevens composed like original music for the soundtrack.
Did he really? I didn't know that.
There's a couple of songs on it that's just like Timothée Chalamet like moodily staring into the distance while like sad gay folk tunes play over it. It's great. And it's just like a movie, like the reason why people love it so much is that it's a gay love story where it doesn't actually feature like a gay bashing, conspicuous homophobia, the parents are supportive, and it's just so purely, it's also like not really an issues movie, it's just an incredibly specific love story about these two people at this one moment in time in this one place, and like you get to know them as individuals. It's also interesting that it's directed from a novel, because you know how like when you watch all those movies based on novels and you're like, there are 5 paragraphs of voiceover, like it's very obviously like lifted straight from a book.
Yeah.
It's such a visual movie that I was like, I can't even picture what the book is like, because it's so much about his visual language and there's not a lot of dialogue.
Right.
And apparently a lot of the book is the younger kid's sort of internal monologue, and it's very impressive that he chooses to communicate that by like gestures.
And then like Chalamet can like wear that like an
And Armie Hammer is amazing in it, and maybe the least Jewish movie ever made.
Are they Jews in it?
Exactly. I didn't know they were going.
Is a Jew?
All 3 are exactly. Apparently, Armie Hammer in real life is half Jewish.
What?
He says that.
Armie Hammer's half Jewish?
But okay, my friend I saw was gonna testify to this. There's a close-up shot of a Star of David pendant, like, nestled in Armie Hammer's chest hair, and I just lost my shit.
Oh my god.
I was, like, screaming, laughing in the theater. And then at another point, he's giving Timothée Chalamet, like, a foot massage, and he's like, my bubby taught me how to do this. And you're like, those 2 words should not be coming out of your mouth. And also, like, it's great that it's a gay story that's defined by a lack of guilt or shame, but a Jewish story without guilt or shame is just not a Jewish story.
It's a Jewish story. Yeah,
Exactly.
it's not. That's that new shit.
So,
Armie Hammer's like he's like an Aryan wet dream. How is that?
exactly.
I guess good that he's half
Although,
Jewish.
so apparently his mom is like a straight Trump supporter, but the Hammer side of his family is like fancy European Jews who got rich.
Hammer
It's the Hammer side. I wish I had a Hammer side to my
Well,
people.
the Hammer family is all over Los Angeles. They were a rich LA family. The Hammer Museum.
Hammer Museum.
Over at UCLA. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Same family.
But also just like an incredibly erotic movie.
Yeah.
Like you could hear a pin drop in that movie theater because
Really?
it's so sexy.
Everyone's getting a little worked up.
Everyone was like very uncomfortable and like not making eye contact with their seatmates if they were there with friends or family, which is just a great like thing to bear witness to. But
Yeah, sure.
I'm pulling for it.
We
Of
got
all this year's like prestige Academy Award contenders, like that's my
That's your
one.
favorite?
Yep.
We just got the screener at home, so as a Writers Guild member, I will watch it alone and then destroy it.
And then
Throw it into the fire.
And then destroy it.
I love that with
Hey,
this
we got
is great.
screeners in my house. Sean, come over. I don't give a shit.
You need to watch it and destroy it. They track them
They didn't
personally.
even send it.
that's
They didn't even
that's
send
the
it to
rule?
They
me.
track them personally now.
I love that.
Oh, do they really?
Yeah.
Oh, they.
They're attached.
Wait, what do they track? Like the number of times you
They are
watch
now,
it?
no, the DVDs are now, at least this is what the letter said that they sent with
Are you
us.
serious?
They are now linked to you personally, so if they show up online.
Oh
they
yeah,
have-
yeah.
they have-
That's what TV screeners are
yeah,
like.
personal watermarks where like, so if it shows up online, they're like, oh, now you're out of the guild.
Yeah, that
So
happens,
be
but
careful.
I've definitely shared a password one or two times.
I've absolutely handed them out as though they were Christmas presents in previous years.
There may or may not be like a screener sharing bank in like a Ringer office.
Yeah.
It's just a lending library system.
Yeah, there might be a counter at the Late Late Show that's also
Yeah.
that same thing. But
Zach's probably making weird Instagram videos of the screeners.
I know, I'm going to talk to that guy. Call me by your name. We will see it. David, it's time for your third pick.
Oh, this is mostly personal, but then it was a big pop culture thing too. 444.
Oh, hell yeah. Please,
Just
come on.
because
The Ringer's
of, like,
album of the year.
What?
Yeah.
Rob Harvilla put it at the top of his list. I'm just
Really?
being like really
It's-
professionally beautiful and making all the plugs.
I
right
love
now.
it, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We had Jason
fantastic.
Concepcion on. Didn't mention the Ringer once. And
I'm
he
just a
tore-
better employee than Jason
He
is, you
tore up
know.
a picture of Bill Simmons like Sinead O'Connor on his
It was crazy.
Yeah. And child abuse. And then he tore it. It was great.
Child abuse. Bill Simmons.
I love that album.
Oh yeah, it's great.
I love the concert.
Yeah, I love the concert.
Las
I love
Vegas.
that album. It was just like, man, just story of OJ. It just
Oh.
like there was so much going on, and then
Okay.
that little movie
Okay.
he made for it.
Yeah.
And it was just like, because I like downloaded it illegally. Sorry, Jay.
Oh, so did I.
I paid to see you, dude. You know.
Yeah.
I downloaded it illegally that night, and me and my buddy Johan just drove around Hollywood, and we listened to it like 3 times.
I was in New York the night it dropped. And I forget who texted me. Somebody, it might have been like Carl Hess or somebody, like out of like 444 just dropped. And I'm like downloading crazy apps on my phone
Yeah.
to get it. Like shit I probably shouldn't have done. And
Yeah.
But then you're like, we're fucking driving around New York listening to 444. Like,
It's
in New York.
What a fun, what a
it's
fun
like,
deal.
Yeah.
it's like, because I love all his albums, obviously, except for like the Dynasty,
Yeah.
or whatever. But it was just like when you listen to it, you can tell that it's the album that took a lifetime to make.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like it's like whether or not it's his best album, that's not the point. It was like this is his life's art to this point. Like,
Yeah.
this is as far as this is where he's at compared to where he's been. It's just like that dude wrote Big Pimpin'.
I know.
Like,
That's the crazy when you're like, damn, the video where they're pouring champagne all over
and it's
people.
like, but I've grown up like, it's like really close. It's like personally, like I feel like he's been a constant in my life.
Yeah.
So it's like I went from Big Pimpin' to 444 too.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Feel yourself
To
grow
the-
up a little bit.
Yeah, like I went to like being
A
like
lot.
when I was a kid. I remember watching the Big Pimpin' video, being like, "This is the coolest thing I've ever seen."
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like just because like, and then you get older, and then it was like Blueprint dropped, and you're like, "Fuck, man, this is like so cool. This is where he's at." And then just like so to get where we are now is just like, it's just so good.
Is
man.
there like an analogous point? I just feel like it's such a uniquely 2017 thing for like a middle-aged rapper to be
Yeah.
able to come out and be like, "This is how I've matured as a man."
Yeah.
And like, this is how my attitudes towards women have shifted. Like, I just feel like that's such untrodden territory, and he
It
just
is.
proved.
Nobody
And he
else
proved
did
that
it.
there's like a whole different type of album that can be made. He's
Which
proving
is-
how to
it's
be
coming,
a
though.
middle-aged rap star.
Rap
It's
is-
coming though. Rap is so new. This is the first.
Yeah.
Like, this is only the second generation of rappers who have been this old and still been in the limelight.
Yeah.
Because the early guys fell off. Like the first rappers
yeah.
fell off when
Hard.
they got old.
Yeah.
Or
They
just
were
about
died.
like
Or
his,
died or just whatever.
Like, we
his
never got
image
big
is
of pop
so
as
like inextricable from Beyonce's at this point. And
Yeah.
last year was the Lemonade year, and I remember that dropping. And like, you know, after the initial like fear cooled down, and we were like, oh, this was definitely released like fully with Jay-Z's permission. It wasn't like a screed.
Yeah.
But also like half the album is calling him a piece of shit,
Yep.
and then you're kind of like, where do you go from there
Yeah.
as an extension
Well,
of
that
this?
was everyone. We're like, is this like the case? So is no more Jay-Z? Like that's kind of
No,
what people thought. Yeah.
That guy's
he
an
just
incredible
crushed
guy.
it.
There's never gonna be no more Jay-Z.
True. But it felt like it for a minute. After
Yeah, it
Lemonade,
was
where
like
you're
you wondered what was gonna happen.
the pop culture. I mean, the collective conscious swirled around Beyonce so like
Right.
fervently.
Yeah.
It is amazing. Like the way that rap is growing at both ends. Like with the older people putting. 2 Chainz is pretty old, and he's
2 Chainz
putting
is
out amazing
old.
music.
Yeah.
Jay-Z. I mean, this album. Yeah, completely showing us how like a rapper can be like in his 40s and contending with like real life issues.
I think he's on the
Yeah.
forefront of that. Like,
Yeah.
I think that Kanye kind of is lost in the sauce maybe right now a little bit. Like,
I think he'll come back
I think he'll come
late
back
next
better
year,
than ever.
2019.
Pray
and,
to
like,
God.
be
Yeah,
fine.
100%.
Yeah, I
But
hope
like,
so.
for right now, as far as like what older rappers are doing and like where it can go and stuff, he's the one pushing it forward, and it's just like for rap, it was just like a big
Great production by No ID.
Yeah,
killed it on there.
It was so good.
And then like
even live, the songs he did live.
he was so good live.
It was
Man.
nuts.
The fact that I heard his tour was having trouble selling in Portland, and like his ears not selling that well, like anywhere just in general. The three of us could. And if you like Jay-Z at all, go see this fucking tour. It's amazing.
He did everything I wanted.
Dude, I just talked to Helen. She got a ticket for $43 to go in Portland. Spend the $43 to go. I mean,
That's wild.
It was such a good concert.
Yeah, and it was just great album by my favorite rapper, and it was just like it was right on time. He just it was so good.
The third verse, like I mean, going back to what you were saying about this is the same dude who did like Big Pimpin'.
Yeah.
And then like the third verse on the song 444, where he's just like, and if my children knew, I don't even know what I would do. If they didn't look at me the same, I would probably die with all the shame. You did what with you? You did what with who? What good is a menage a trois when you have a soulmate? You risk that for blue? If I wasn't a superhero in your face, my heart breaks for the day. I have to explain my mistakes, and the mask goes away, and Santa Claus is fake, and you go online and see for Blue's tooth, the tooth fairy didn't pay. Like,
it's
fuck, man. Like he's talking
You
about
risk
like
all that for blue is like the line of the year to me.
I have like goosebumps just from like thinking about that.
He's so it's like hard to like not get or he's just so good, and he's like he just understands where he's at as an artist.
Yeah.
And like he's really in tune with like what he feels like the music he needs to put out. It wasn't even a long album, and I played it forever.
And,
like,
and it had like Bam was a banger.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And Story of OJ, like I still listen to that.
That song.
Yeah.
Cool. But like, he.
I didn't mind the low-key anti-Semitism. I don't think he meant it that way.
I don't think so either. He also has said that before on other songs.
Yeah.
You know, we're
born
not in a great
Jewish,
time for anti-Semitism in pop culture,
No.
but that one didn't really register for
Me neither. I heard it and I was like,
Jay-Z, fine for the Jews.
How do you think?
Just fine.
It's weird because he's like saying the Jews own all the property. It's not true.
It's not wrong.
Yeah. We own a lot of them.
You know who gets protested at all the fucking anti-landlord shit in Crown Heights?
Yeah.
Like, it's all asshole Orthodox Jewish landlords.
Yeah.
They
I
give
listened
us
to
all a
This
bad
American
name.
Life about that, but that's neither here
You
nor
leave us cultural Jews alone, though. We don't own anything. We don't know. All we own
We're
is
as
like...
buried by student debt as everyone else.
Yeah,
We're
exactly.
fine.
I don't even own these shorts.
You know how the cultural Jews owned all the cool jackets? Credit. I don't know.
They got lids a lot.
What do we have? What do we even have? But yeah, 444 was such a great album.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah, tour was great.
I loved it.
And again, an exciting way to see like what older rappers could be. Because I mean, I'm not to like dwell on it for too long because of course we're running long already as it is. But like, so rap is young, but it's not as young as it's like. I mean, so if rock and roll started in what the mid '50s,
Rap started late 70s.
late '70s. So we're now in like, you know, we're in like
like 38.
40 years of rap. So when this is like the 90s for rock, right? I mean, like,
Yeah, I guess
the early 90s. So it's like amazing. Like it's amazing that rap is still growing in that way.
It definitely.
And like younger rappers too are getting like weird and like doing weird shit.
Rappers just started taking drugs.
Yeah.
Remember growing up, rappers never talked about doing.
Well, and I saw
ever.
They did cocaine, maybe.
Ever.
Cocaine and
not
weed,
even. It was
maybe.
like 3 6 Mafia talked about coke a little bit.
Yeah.
But like no rappers talked about doing drugs.
Yeah, other than like Curtis Blow and them.
Yeah, but that was
that
selling
80s
drugs.
shit.
That was all selling drugs.
Yeah.
White Lines was like they were doing coke, but that song's about like, hey, don't do cocaine. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Even though he was doing cocaine.
Even though it's straight up
a lot of coke.
Yeah.
I like the nice rap too. Like how rap has kind of moved into this realm of we're gonna rap about nice
Oh,
things.
like the kids?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
I
that
don't.
we're gonna be happy.
I don't super understand the kids because they're saying grimy shit with a big smile on their face still.
I don't trust them.
Yeah, like Yachty's really smiling.
I'm not gonna
but
give
then,
you a bunch of money and ask you to deposit it for me. you
Yeah,
know?
sometimes you listen to what he's saying, you're like, oh, this is still like, yeah. Same with like Young Thug.
Misogynistic gully shit.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, Young Thug is just like saying shit.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh no, he said he just bought a Bentley and a bitch came with it.
Yes. So he was wearing a
But
beautiful
he's
Yves Saint Laurent
engaged. He
dress.
has a beautiful relationship with his fiance.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Doesn't he also only eat candy?
And then, like, no, he gets, like, nutrients via, like, shots in his butt.
Yeah,
It's,
he's a weird.
Yeah.
That's a weird.
I mean,
fella.
my friend once remarked to me that he's like, I feel like Young Thug is like our version of like a Prince or a David Bowie,
Yeah.
where you're like, that guy's an alien.
Yeah,
Like, that guy's
yeah.
not a human being.
Yeah, it's a
Jeffrey.
weird.
And it's
thing.
cool that that person can be a rapper, where
Oh,
it used
right.
to be like a rock star or an R&B star, and now it's like,
Now you can be
no,
a
it's
rapper
this dude in
and be like,
Atlanta.
Rappers can be weird. Oh, it's the best. Rappers weren't weird before.
No, Yanni's
That's
weird
why
as
all
fuck.
the old guys are freaking out so much. I think.
Yeah, right,
'Cause
that's
they're like,
why,
we had to wear Timberlands at the beach.
Right.
You guys are just down here.
You're wearing swim trunks at the Grammys. Yeah.
That SNL sketch where Pete Davidson plays, like, I think his character's name is like Lil Doodoo,
Oh, yeah,
but it's
Lil
like the
Doodoo, yeah.
SoundCloud rapper versus like the super old school guys.
Yes.
And my friend was like, this sketch is kind of better as a piece of rap criticism than comedy, but
right.
it is a good piece of rap criticism.
And shout out to Zach Fox on Twitter, who made that joke first, and it's one of those weird SNL.
Oh,
like,
no.
Did they steal it?
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh, please, no,
if it
of
was
course
stolen,
it's not your
that
fault.
sucks.
It was a funny sketch, but it was like, it's one of those things where like SNL did it. Is it just a
Zeitgeist
shared
thing,
observance, or
yeah.
did like one of their writers like on coke at 4 a.m. see that tweet? You know?
Man,
Sure.
we are
But
going
SNL wasn't
a lot of
a content
directions
anymore.
today.
I know.
Okay,
A lot of
well.
shots fired for the last one of the year.
SNL steals a lot of shit.
Yeah.
They do, and they always have. But like that's just
Marissa,
what-
can you edit a flame on top of that?
Like an air horn.
Yeah.
Scream. Wah, wah.
Head go.
Young Flame
No
guy.
shade on anyone who works at SNL or anything like that, but like I mean, yeah, they've done that shit. Because they have, I mean, because it's a
That is a machine.
It's a
that
machine.
I don't understand why anybody wants that.
it's a desperate machine.
Dude, that job seems so hard.
So hard.
Yeah.
Sean, third pick.
We're gonna pick the Oscars blunder for Best
Yes.
Oh, the Moonlight.
Fucking
Okay,
insane.
I picked La La Land last year, and I feel like weirdly so like we can talk about the actual film, which was crazy.
Yeah.
But like now, La La Land is not the evil white movie that took Moonlight's Oscar, and I think
Right.
the brouhaha kind of sucked because it eclipsed. Like we were talking more about the wrong announcement than
Yes.
the fact that a $1 million indie movie about black gay love in Miami
Right.
won Best Picture at the Oscars.
Right, which is wild.
By a second-time director. Like,
And that's what's so fascinating about that blunder is because it was almost like that La La Land, like fuck you La La Land, and then
Man,
it wasn't.
It was good for both movies.
It was
it was
crazy.
really the best
Yeah.
outcome.
Yeah.
Can I say, maybe controversial opinion? Man, I really hated La La Land.
You didn't like it?
I could
Not a
It doesn't
controversial
seem like
opinion
it's
at
up your
all.
alley. I mean, I
I
know you.
did.
I saw it specifically because everybody was talking about it. It was like that or Moonlight. I saw Moonlight and I was like, saw that twice, and then I was like, well, we'll go see La La Land. Saw it with my boy Johan Miranda one more time, and fuck, I hate it.
You hate it?
Oh my! I just like because I see Moonlight, and I was like, this is just like white people dancing in the sky.
Okay, I literally
Jesus.
gave. There's an event
And
called.
then he stole, like, John Legend was the bad guy?
No, he's not. No, he is not. Okay,
not the
I
bad
literally
guy?
gave a whole. There's an event called Drunk Ed, formerly Drunk TED Talks, and I gave a whole speech called La La Land is good, actually, wherein I white swained La La Land. But literally, if you read the script, I think John Legend is supposed to be right. Like, what he says is correct. What the music he makes, like, is... In the script, it's literally like, this is good music.
Right.
And, like, if you look at it, I think the best way to view the film is, like, it's about an episode in Emma Stone's life.
Yeah.
And it's kind of I see it as, like, it's a movie about how you can be in a relationship that's good for you, but is not meant to be forever. And so he's just, like, this guy she dated that ends up, like... you know, owning a club, but, like, she's a movie star.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't think it was supposed... I'm, like, a big defender of it on the white splain jazz front, because I don't think... Like, Damien Chazelle's first movie is literally about how asshole Jude bros ruin jazz with their ego contests.
Right.
Like, that is what Whiplash is about.
Right.
So, I think he knows what he's talking about.
So Ryan
But-
Gosling's supposed to be kind of a putz, like
Yes.
with bad
Oh,
opinions.
he's
Yeah.
a huge...
Yeah.
I don't know, and I'm sure there are a lot of reasons that I just like watching it. Just on a visceral level, I just was like...
Is it because we just make Gosling a hero because he's so handsome? We want to root for him, so we
No,
assume
because
he's the hero in the movie.
Although he was great.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, just while we're praising Gosling, I thought he was so good in Blade Runner 2049.
I still haven't seen
Also,
that.
oh
my God, I saw it twice in theaters.
Watch Alone and Destroy.
So wonderful.
I should have seen it in theaters. It was a busy time.
It was a good theater movie, but
yeah.
I was so glad Moonlight won, and it was also just, again, while we're talking about monoculture, it was like one of those things where you're like, I'm so glad I'm watching this live, and it can't be captured in like the next day winter roundups. It was like, oh shit, like something really bad.
One of those things like, is this
you were
real?
glad you were watching TV.
It was nuts, man. Just seeing it live, like they really fucked up like that.
Yeah.
That actually happened, and then you start all the conspiracy theories.
So where do you place the blame?
I mean, what was the whole thing? They gave him the wrong envelope. Is that what everybody?
Well, but then Warren
landed on?
Beatty kind of deflected it to Faye Dunaway.
Yeah.
But I just think like no one was really at fault. There was some mistake, and now that we have so much distance from it, it's fine.
Yeah.
But it was just one of those things that's like, oh, even with like everything is micromanaged and you think you know everything, and there was sort of like La La Land won so much that night, and you just thought like, okay, this is it, it's just happening,
Right,
and you can
predetermined
still
narrative.
be like shocked. And I think you're also seeing the after effects of Moonlight winning on this current Oscar race. Like, it is kind of crazy that, like, Florida Project, Call Me By Your Name, Get Out, like, all of those being in the frontrunner conversation feels like a direct outgrowth of that movie being able to do so well at the Oscars.
I like those. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I like those people that it was Clint Eastwood, right? Who was reading it?
It was Faye Dunaway and Warren Beatty.
Yeah, Warren Beatty. I like the people that thought that it said Moonlight, and he was just like, fuck that. Because there were people who straight up thought he's like, nah.
Then you just saw the audible of them?
I think,
my
you know, I have faith enough in Annette Bening to think that she's like brainwashed him into being a good dude.
Yeah.
I think he liked Moonlight.
I think he. Totally. I think Warren Beatty's probably a pretty decent guy.
Yeah.
That's not bold with.
It's just such a crazy theory to me. Like, no, he did not.
I think people think that like everything in stuff like show business and stuff is like a lot more loosey goosey than it. You know what I mean? Like,
Nah,
Like
La La Land.
They think that with the Oscar that what's her face won for My Cousin Vinny too.
Oh, with Marissa Tomei?
Yeah, that somebody like fucked up.
It's insane.
The Moonlight come up. Excellent pick.
Yeah.
In the interest of time, I will now make my third and then fourth picks.
As it is. A
It
serpentine
is a
draft.
serpentine draft. So with my third pick, I'm gonna go back to television, but I'm not gonna take. I wonder if any of us will take it.
Yeah, okay. I think you should just go ahead and take it. Just to
All right, I'll take it so we can talk about it.
I have a long list. I have options.
I'm not gonna take it. I'm gonna take something else.
All right.
I gotta play the strategy. I'm taking the Defiant Ones, the HBO
Oh,
documentary.
interesting. You know, I watched the intro and really didn't like it, and then I didn't finish it. So tell me why it's so good.
It is. I mean, it's just an amazing story. Once it kind of gets away, like Jimmy Iovine is like the crux of the beginning
That's
part
the
of
best
it.
part to me. I like the Jimmy Iovine story.
But once it stops being just about Jimmy Iovine and more about the world that he was in, I think is when it gets like really interesting. And then the third installment of it, which is all about like Dr. Dre and like that era of hip hop, is amazing.
It's so good.
It's so good. They have amazing interviews and like the stuff that they do about the Source Awards.
Yeah,
that shit. I had always wanted to know.
Well, they
what
got
happened with
such
that.
a good candid interview with Snoop, which is one of my favorite things when he's just like, I can say whatever the fuck I want now. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And they got Dre calling Suge Knight like an idiot, which is something like people didn't do back in the day.
No.
He's just like,
Nas interviewed they interviewed Nas and he was like completely candid. It was like
I will say in terms of like late period music stuff, like I read the Jan Wenner biography.
Oh yeah.
So dishy, but it's all 75-year-old super rich rock stars who have nothing to lose. So they're all just like totally casting shit about everyone, including Jan Wenner. So
and in the Defiant one, it's like I guess slightly younger people, but still people just like speaking completely.
Yeah, they don't give a shit anymore.
Snoop is being fully honest. Nas is being fully honest.
I feel like it's also like, you know, I didn't realize until I saw the Defiant ones that like there was no major showcase for what Dr. Dre's personality is before.
No.
We didn't really know it. Like, because watching it, you're like, oh, this guy, the way he operates, he is like a weird artist guy.
Yeah.
You know, where he was like, I wear the same clothes every day.
Yeah.
And he just like locks himself in, and you're just, and like how he can't get detox right and shit like that. It was just like, oh, this guy is like full on like an artist. Like you never knew that before because he plays it very close.
This was such a big year for me, like gaining more respect for the artistry, just specifically artistry of people who I already liked.
Yeah.
Like the Dissect podcast, which I was thinking about taking, but I probably won't. But about Kanye and
it is mind blowing. That thing
amazing.
is amazing.
But just about him and My Dark Twisted Fantasy, and then with Dr. Dre on this, where you're like, oh shit, like that guy is like a tortured artist who's like an amazing producer.
Detox was a joke to me before.
Yeah.
And then watching him work on it, you're like, this poor fucking guy.
Yeah. He just wants it so bad.
Oh, he wants it to be perfect. It's like he wants it to be his opus.
It's
his opus.
It'll never come out. Or it'll come out like Brian Wilson's album did, like 30 years after it was supposed to. And nobody will care. Like,
so if I can just sound my note of dissent, I will say the reason I did not watch the rest of it is like the cold open is basically like them talking about the beat steal, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I was like, this is the worst possible like entry point
Terrible
into this.
open.
Like, I don't care about how these dudes got super rich really recently after a deal like no one is that excited about.
And the fourth episode is that.
That's the fourth
start
episode.
with some like crazy anecdote, and I get that they sort of like needed a way to showcase like all the talking heads they would have.
Yeah.
And that was cool, just seeing all the famous faces.
Yes.
But I was like, is this what I'm going to be watching? Like, it's good to hear that they recover from it. Yeah.
It's 4 episodes long, and it is 3 amazing episodes.
Okay.
Total, you know, and then the
last one's interesting.
I don't hate the Beats one. Because I also saw that video when it came out. And I remember being like, whoa, Dr. Dre's got $1 billion.
Oh, and like Tyrese, right?
Tyrese. Drunk.
I did not see that video until I watched the Defiant one. So I was like, holy shit, look at these
and I
kids.
have to, like, as, like, sort of the culmination, and I do think it's interesting for someone to, like, really explain why it's such a big deal, why someone like Dr. Dre becoming, like, you know, someone like Dr. Dre becoming a billionaire.
It is.
But, like, I needed the context first. I was like, don't lead with, like, okay, congratulations, you're all rich.
I think what they were trying to do, and this is probably bad documentary making, which is weird because it's a good documentary, I think they were trying to, like, do that connective tissue between the beginning and the end, and here's how they got there kind of thing. But it was off-putting. And I didn't like the 4th one as much as... It was interesting, but
the stories
it felt like an infomercial for Beats a little bit. But those...
It's all about that 3rd episode. That
amazing Bruce Springsteen stuff, too.
Yeah.
Like, about what a maniac Bruce Springsteen is in the studio.
Yep.
And like how hard Jimmy Iovine works.
Yeah.
Like,
he was like chewing on tinfoil to stay awake to get like levels right because he was like falling asleep with the boards and everything.
So nuts.
Yeah, I watched it 3 times all the way through.
Wow.
Because it came out and you watched for the whole thing. And then we sat and watched it all together.
Right.
And then you came over, and then we watched it all together. And then I watched it again just later. So I love the Defiant ones.
Yeah.
But in the interest of time, we'll move on. Check that out if you haven't. With my 4th pick.
I'm telling you, take the TV.
I'm not going to take it. I'm not going to...
I'm looking at my last 2 picks, and I actually think I might not do a television one for either.
Really? I think I might not either.
Oh, boy.
I know. I'm trying to think of what I enjoyed more. We can talk about it after just briefly, even if neither one of us take it. Okay, I'm going to take... Shit. All right, I'll take... Okay, I'm going to take my favorite song of the year.
Nice.
Which is... I never would have thought that this would be the person who made my favorite song of the year. It's insane to me that they did, but I'm taking Sign of the Times by Harry Styles.
Yes.
You were listening
Welcome
to it
to
today.
the tribe.
I love it.
He made a 70s style rock album. It's dope as hell.
It's fucking good. He's
really good.
And he's a good kid. And like his music is awesome.
Killer Mick Jagger impression. SNL keeps coming up, but
I was this year though.
Yeah, I was really won over by him, and I think it's cool that like it feels like an expression of individual taste and a couple of interesting songs. It's also interesting to me that it wasn't like the sales blockbuster people kind of hoped it would be.
No,
and it's like he made something you liked. That's cool.
Was it bad? Did it do bad numbers?
It wasn't terrible.
Yeah,
it's just like the solo, the like biggest star from One Direction making a solo album.
Right.
You would have expected it to do a little better than it did.
Right. It's I like it, and I've listened to Zayn and Louis Tomlinson's and everything, and like Harry's is by far my favorite.
Yeah.
At the Late Late Show, I work with our executive producer is this guy Ben Winston.
Oh right.
Yeah, who was basically like the sixth member of like One Direction. He directed a bunch of their music videos.
There was that Rolling Stone profile that Cameron Crowe wrote about like the life that Harry was living, and he basically lived like in his attic, right?
At Ben Winston's house, yeah. And so like they're very close. So like I've like been in that world because I've been on Late Late Show since day one. So I've been in that world. Like Harry Styles was one of our first like really big guests, you know. Like,
okay, are you allowed to say whether he's cool in person?
I could. If Harry is, Harry's super cool in person.
Okay, great.
In fact, all those kids are like super nice in person.
That's interesting.
Really? Yeah, they're all like quality dudes. I like.
The miracle.
I would if I could talk shit about him, I would talk shit about him. But like, they've all been so nice. Like Harry Styles was cool. He's been on the show and done like segments and like. He just guest hosted because Corden had a baby, and Harry Styles came in with like 2 hours notice and was like guest hosted the show for us.
Oh,
How did you?
He did great. I mean, for like someone who's a musician, Bryan Cranston did it the next night and fucking murdered it. I recommend watching that if you haven't seen it. Like Bryan Cranston, it's just this weird thing where Cranston hosts a late night show, and like fully, it's almost like actor fantasy camp because it's a thing we're all aware of.
Yeah.
And he's an amazingly talented actor, so he's like, oh, so for one night I get to be David Letterman? You know, so he came in and just fucking like crushed it. But
it's also like there's not enough rock on Top 40 anymore, or not enough just like people playing instruments on Top 40 anymore. And like I feel like of all the big albums this year, Lana's is like that.
Yeah.
Although it was a little too long, but I also really like that. But like I can't even think of many musicians who were that big who insist on like recording with an actual band.
Right.
And like
because like Lord was that's all pop. That's right for the most part.
She and Marin. Okay, I'm just gonna spoil it. Melodrama was gonna be one of my big picks. So
let's
maybe
talk, yeah. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about that.
Okay, great.
But here, so just back to the Sign of the Times. His voice is amazing on it. I mean, he's got like a pretty good voice, and like
I agree. Yeah.
it sounds like something that fucking like Axl Rose would have sang if he wasn't such a scumbag. Like, I would love to hear Axl Rose sing Sign of the Times. I think it would be
It's also interesting
amazing.
that on that album, there are, like, songs where he talks pretty openly about just, like, sleeping with the groupie for a night and still manages to make it sound, like, romantic and he doesn't sound like an asshole.
Right.
It's just like, this is just something that, happens.
It's not We've Got Tonight by Bob Seger, right? It's something like a little bit nicer. But Sign of the it's a huge wall of sound type song. There's these, like, these soaring like strings in it and everything, like sounds that you haven't heard since like Elton John was making like pop rock songs and stuff like that. I just loved it. It's like definitely my favorite shower song of the year.
Important notch for you.
It is a good shower song.
You gotta get your day right.
So Sean, it's time for your fourth pick.
All right.
Check out that Harry Styles song.
I'm gonna pick Curb Your Enthusiasm coming back.
Okay.
Interesting.
I'm gonna do that. And
mixed reception on that, I noticed.
Huh?
As a mixed reception for the season.
Yeah, and truth be told, because I don't want to lie to listeners, I haven't finished it.
I haven't either.
Me neither.
Also full disclosure. But it's exactly like, there are sort of shows where I'm like, oh, I decide it's bad and I don't want to keep watching it.
Yeah.
But then there are shows where I'm like, I don't really have a problem with it, but I notice I have a problem with it because I don't feel compelled to catch
I have
up.
a painting of Larry David in my house.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it.
Is it like Impressionist or
It's
like
him as
Cubist,
Mona
or is
Lisa.
it just like a totally straight painting of
Him
Larry
is the
David?
Mona Lisa.
It's great. But the show, like, what I've seen, so the only reason I haven't finished is because my HBO password is no longer on my computer because the people I was using theirs from, they don't have HBO anymore. Otherwise, I would have watched it. Like, I'd watch it in bed. But the episodes I've seen are so great, and just a show that can be that good for so long. Like, when you look at Seinfeld and then Curb, and then how they did the Seinfeld reunion on Curb, and it was good, and now they're in the new season, and it's still good. It's just crazy to me.
Yeah, I also think, like, I watched a lot of Curb leading up to the premiere, and I don't think the gap in quality was as big as some people thought it was. It was very much still Curb Your Enthusiasm, and there were some great moments.
Yeah.
I think it was more because he'd been away for so long, he just tried to stuff so much into every episode and kind of got away from him at some points.
I can see that.
And just, like, even throughout Curb, just, like, the progression of it from, like, a super, like, almost, like, blurry, boxy, lo-fi, whatever that they were working with in season 1 to, like, it looks like an actual TV show.
That is,
Yeah.
And I've also heard it's gotten a little less improvisatory and a little more written, which I think you can hear.
Yeah.
But like, I don't
like
have
that.
a problem with that. Like, he's been making it for like 17 years.
He knows
like,
he knows how to make funny TV.
Yeah.
God, it's been that long.
Oh, yeah, it's a pre-9/11
Well, it's also
show.
like in its
isn't it?
later, in its later seasons, it was basically every other year. And I also,
Yeah.
which is another thing I really like and respect about it, and the same thing is true of Atlanta, and the same thing is true of Master of None, that people can just kind of be like, in this current creative climate, if you have the creative capital to do it, you can just be like, I know I want to make another thing eventually,
Yeah.
but not right now.
Not now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And like,
I'm gonna go be rich for a while.
yeah, but it's also like the
I
fact
think
that
it's
Larry
all those.
David even feels compelled to do literally anything ever is
I'm saying-
pretty,
We're lucky
pretty
for that.
amazing.
Yeah.
I will. Another thing I like, especially this era of like comedy on television, and it's the same way I feel about The Good Place and Curb, is like, oh, it's just funny.
Yeah.
That's really nice. You know,
Yeah.
like it's no shade on Transparent, and I mean, but like for that to be like the comedy winning all these comedy, it's funny. But
I
it's
couldn't
like,
get into it.
man,
I'm
it's
trying
hard.
Transparent.
It's hard to have.
Well, now you got
Now you
your
can't.
excuse, but
Yeah.
I will
Yeah,
say
yeah.
the first. I will say like the fourth season of the show is just a step down creatively. It's really good, and there are funny moments on it, but it's a dramedy, and it's
Yeah.
also like it's only classified as a comedy for length and awards reasons.
Yes.
But yes, like it is good to have a show that is purely comedic, and then also like. It is a show that's openly about rich assholes. Which
Yeah.
I think a lot of people were put off about that because we're in a particularly exaggerated moment of rich
Class, yeah.
assholes ruining the country. But, like, it is so unabashed about being about extremely wealthy people and about how, like, the reason he's able to focus on these, like, ridiculous breaches of minor etiquette is because he has nothing else
Right.
to worry
Yeah,
about
yeah,
his
yeah,
entire
yeah.
life.
Yeah, he doesn't give a shit. That's
Right.
what's always been fun about
One of the
it.
best seasons is about buying a restaurant. So it's like, yeah.
Or, like, his golf club and its membership policies
Yeah.
is, like, a
And he
recurring
cares.
problem.
He cares so much.
So
about
much.
It's man.
Excellent pick. David, it's time for your fourth pick.
My fourth pick, kind of a weird pick, but it's just like
Oh, really?
it was set. Come on, you do that to me in front of my friends. It was just I usually don't. It was such a big deal, and I usually don't pay attention to this stuff. So that's how I felt it was so big. And because I picked Jay before, Beyonce's pregnancy pictures.
Oh.
It was just like it rocked the internet, and you watch it. It was just a really cool thing.
Apparently, Facebook/Instagram had a booth at their holiday party where you could like take a fake Beyonce pregnancy
That's
picture
funny.
against like a flower wall with a
That's
veil.
that's how big that was.
Exactly, yeah.
That was like it was just like a weird thing where I was like, whoa, this is cool.
It's cool that it did that. Although I will say, I was talking to a friend about this. I feel like it sort of disrupted the Beyonce equation where, like, I like it when her fans are able to be like, oh, she's like a goddess, she's like divine. When she uses that iconography, I'm a little bit like, let the fans, like, fill in that gap. You know,
Oh,
don't,
yeah.
like,
Feel like she was
don't, like,
taking it.
overtly present yourself as this, like, divine, feminine, like, the Venus on the tortoise
Because then
shell
you
or
worry that she
whatever.
might be a psycho.
I mean, like,
Or
you know
me,
she's
I-
a psycho. You can't
Yeah,
be that
yeah,
famous
yeah.
and rich
She
without
has to
being
be
a
so.
psycho.
Yeah,
And, like,
yeah.
and you're right, like, the fact that it penetrated the culture as much as it did is kind of...
It was, like, it was
it's, like,
huge.
a testament to success. But at least for me, it's like, I like it more when, like, she just does, like, a super cool thing, and then everyone else freaks out and, like,
Yeah.
hypes it up into
Like the
this
way,
big
like the
thing.
day Lemonade dropped.
Yes,
It was
exactly.
it was a carryover of the imagery she used in the Grammys performance, which was pretty amazing.
Yes.
Just
it?
like, yeah, like just very,
Well,
very
she performed,
floral.
she was still pregnant, right?
Yeah,
And then she
very
put, like,
Which is
the
crazy.
headdress.
Very pregnant.
I saw it because I got to write on the Grammys last year. Same year I was nominated for the Emmy, and
That's
Did you go to the
lost. I
gym
feel like
that
you
year?
didn't check it now.
yeah, huh?
Did you go to the gym that year?
Several.
Imagine
several
all this
dozen times.
while going to the gym every single day.
It's crazy that one man was able
It's
to
incredible.
accomplish all this.
A Jewish man.
Yeah.
You're Jewish.
Oh,
That's what it
100%,
is.
that's everything. Most of the people will be working on the Grammys this year. So imagine this year, but last year. No, but she was. So they tuck us under the stage, the writers, so we can like, if something happens during the show, we were able to like get it to the host. And
So was Beyonce directly above you?
she was directly across because
Oh
we're in
my
this.
God.
So there's like the talent has to go through the hallway. that we're like kind of like hidden in.
You're crouched in.
And like
the gremlins.
Yeah, we're kind of like huddled over our laptops, wearing suit like ties over like fucking.
You're wearing a hoodie and a suit and tie.
Literally wearing a hoodie and a suit.
Oh my god.
And but like she's in this hallway across from us, fully pregnant, so pregnant, holding. So her. The Grammys doesn't have like official like paper they give you to write your speech on or anything, so that means some Beyonce got a gold leaf piece of paper with her speech written on it.
She just got that from someone.
It's just gold. She's holding a piece of gold. She looks gold.
She doesn't write on wood anymore.
She's glowing, and she's got this perfect entourage of people, all of whom, none of them are in front of her, but none of them are that far back. They're surrounding her, but also giving her room. They're all standing like uniformly 6 inches behind her in this like half circle behind Beyonce, and you're just like looking at her. You're like, oh my god! You're just it really takes your breath away.
She's amazing.
She's amazing, and it's not even just because she's famous. Because I see like in my line of work, get to see famous people all the time. But there's something about there's something about everything about Beyonce, if that makes sense.
She's got the thing.
She's just got it all.
Yeah, and it feels good to be able to totally like lose your perspective when it comes to a person. Like I've had people be like, I don't get why people about like Beyonce and Rihanna are like she doesn't give a fuck or like she's incredible. And I was
punch
like,
anybody in the face
feels,
who doesn't get Beyonce.
But it feels good to just be like we have this one person that we can just place all our faith in.
It feels so good. Yeah.
Yeah, for better or worse, it's great.
I'm so excited for her next. Whatever she does,
it's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be amazing.
She's like reinvented like the music industry and the album with like her last two releases.
We get like so lost in not lost in it, but yeah, the way she released Lemonade and like manipulates the record industry to her whim is amazing. And then also that album fucking was awesome.
It was so good.
I hate that I don't listen to it that much because I refuse to pay for Tidal.
I know,
but
I gotta get that legal download.
That shit is really fucking me up.
I can't pay for Tidal, and I like don't want to be the person who illegally downloads Beyonce because I respect her too much for it. But again, like the fact that I don't even listen to the album that much, and I could still probably recite every song from memory.
It's a good sign.
It's crazy.
Illegally download it and then buy like one of the what's her clothing brand?
House of Davion?
No,
Ivy Park.
Ivy Park into the new one. Yeah, and then just buy some Ivy Park like
I need workout
pants.
gear. That's a good suggestion.
Yeah, that way you break it even with it.
All right. Is it time for my fourth and fifth?
It is.
Okay, well, I already spoiled this one, but just to wind up a little bit, just as you may have detected that Sean is from South Dakota and Ian is Jewish, you may have picked up that I am a white woman in 2017, and therefore I am obligated to put Lord's Melodrama on this list. Holy shit. I mean, like, last year was such a big year for pop albums.
Yeah.
It felt like every single major figure, most importantly, Beyonce released something. So this year was like a little more sparse for pop. I feel like the landscape was a little freer. But she just made like what I think is unquestionably the best pop album of the year.
It's powerful.
Amazing. And I will say, I was worried when Greenlight came out. And I was like, is this just going to be like a dinky Jack Antonoff dance album?
Yeah.
But it's such a complete statement. And also, like, I thought her first album was so beautiful and impressive. And she doesn't play instruments, as you were talking about earlier. And I highly recommend listening to her Mark Maron podcast because he like kind of gives her shit about that.
She went on WTF.
God damn it, Mark.
She went on WTF, and it's such an amazing example of like Mark Maron as bad interviewer makes him a good interviewer.
Yeah.
Because he literally does not know that her name is not Lord. He's like, you guys are, you have a real name, right? And she's like, yes, it's Ella. And I'm listening. I'm like, it's on her Wikipedia page.
Mark.
Does not take a lot of research.
That's not a
guys.
Her guy is Paul Simon, and they sing Paul Simon together. And it's really beautiful, but it's really funny because he's sort of like, oh, you don't play any instruments, isn't that like kind of sad? And she's like, no, I can like express myself really well because of that. And she writes all her own lyrics. I think she has a specificity that we're really not used to having in radio pop.
Yeah.
There was that amazing profile where Max Martin kind of famously said of Greenlight, this is imperfect songwriting, which is just such a way of like, she makes pop that sounds like it comes from a single person's brain. And clearly it doesn't actually do that, but
just to be able to pull that trick is amazing in this day and age, when everything else is so like produced to like the nth degree.
Also,
and overly written.
She's like
young,
20.
right?
Yeah, she's 20. Her first album was when she was 16, and like
that's fucking crazy.
Which is crazy.
I was not doing that shit when I was 16.
You know, she also just as a persona, she's so self-possessed, and like she's really one of those people who gets me all weepy and emotional because it's like, if this were, like, top 40 when I was in high school did not have a Lorde-type figure. What
were you in high school?
I was like, literally,
I'm trying to place us if we're like the same.
I was like late aughts. So
Late
like
aughts.
it was
okay.
like Barbie era, like pink hair Nicki Minaj, red era Taylor Swift, and I was like, this is all fine, but there was no one on that level. Like I had to go to sort of like the next step down to Pitchfork core.
Yeah.
And I remember listening to Royals and thinking like of her first album, I like this album. I think if it had maybe the same level of audience of like Purity Ring, just to pick someone else at the time,
Ooh, I love
it's
Purity
already.
Ring.
It's already pretty good.
Yeah.
But it was the fact that, like, this was playing on top 40 and she's selling at arenas and she has the same reach as someone like Taylor Swift that, like, really gets me in my feelings.
Yeah.
It's like, if this was available to me in high school, I feel like I would have felt a little more represented.
We didn't have that when we were in high school. I was 2003 when I graduated. You were 4, 5.
I was 2000.
2000, yeah. I mean, it was, yeah.
You had
There wasn't
bling
anyone
bling.
quite like Lorde.
Huh?
You bling bling.
Yeah.
Every time I come around the
And
city.
I don't mean that as a bad
But just the album itself is like, it's a compact statement.
Yeah.
It starts dancey and then it fits through so many different moods. There's so many like little lines I'll just like quote to myself. And, you know, she makes like a very unrelatable experience, which is basically like, I got too famous, so my boyfriend broke up with me.
Yeah.
And then I had like a bunch of crazy partying experiences because I was like living alone at 20 and didn't have any, but it's not like, oh, I'm losing all perspective, and she frames it in such a human way. I was just so blown away, and like, I'm not the best at keeping up with music, and that was like, I had no problem just totally saturating myself with
That's
that
your
album.
album.
So great.
Yeah.
So just to keep with the theme, my fifth pick is just deliberately broad. I'm going to go with female action heroes.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Of
Of
course.
which my main examples will be, I feel like we got to talk about Wonder Woman.
Robin Wright in
Wonder Woman, Atomic Blonde,
Mm-hmm.
and I just saw Star Wars, but so no spoilers, but I thought about this last night because I was watching Star Wars, and, you know, there's obviously a training scene where Rey is, like, whipping around a lightsaber and just being really impressive. And I was watching it, and I was like, this is a scene that is about, like, a woman's physicality. It is about her using her body. And the way the camera portrays it is completely designed to make you go, look how powerful this person is, as opposed to just like, oh, like look at her, like using, like waving her body around.
Right, or that
sexualize
she's
her.
like, in the past that would be like, she's doing a gymnastics floor routine, but just with a sword. You know? Yeah.
And like for some reason she like her midriff is exposed.
Right.
She's wearing short shorts
Right.
for like aerodynamic sake.
Right, exactly, yeah. Even though it's a hand-to-hand combat situation and all the
Yeah.
dudes are wearing thick furs.
Yeah, thick
Yeah.
furs.
Yeah.
So I was
Leather.
and like, oh my god, did you see that picture that was like the Amazons in Wonder Woman versus like Zack Snyder's Amazons?
Oh my god.
But, you know, I think,
Yeah.
like, when it came to Wonder Woman, there was a lot of, you know, look what a, you know, how a woman is going to present a female hero, and I totally agree with that, but I also think it's important for a male director to do it, just to show that, like, it's not
Right.
inherent
Right.
that dudes have to be creepy when they're filming women's bodies.
Right.
You can still, like, respect her athleticism, which I thought was great, but, like, Wonder Woman was also really interesting. Like, I didn't respond to it as much as, like, a girl power thing, but, like, it made so much money
So
because
It's great.
people just really wanted that.
Yeah.
But,
Gal
yeah,
Gadot seems pretty likable too.
Yeah.
she's really nice.
She's very likable.
That GQ profile that Katie Weaver wrote
Yeah,
was
Katie Weaver.
very
I mean, did you
interesting.
watch Justice League? They literally just like tacked on
I
a scene
haven't
at the
seen it.
beginning
Yeah.
where she's just like flexing because they were clearly like, okay, we got to give the people what they want.
Yeah.
It's completely unrelated to anything else that happens in the movie,
I
and it's
probably
just
won't
there.
see Justice League,
It's
but it's good
very
to know
bad.
these guys are of two minds about it.
I don't think it's terrible.
I'm gonna.
I know
You've
you
been
ain't.
saying some shit this whole week.
Chris Paul's ugly.
Paul's ugly, dude.
Don't even bring that shit back up to me.
We almost got a 5-way fist fight last night.
Yeah.
Sean,
Sean thinks
would you
Chris
stop
Paul
saying
is
Chris
ugly.
Paul's ugly?
I don't even.
So were you guys Wonder Woman fans?
Yeah, I loved it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like put in a weird position as a woman.
Not
Because
liking
I
it
was
that
like,
much.
I was sort of like, I'm annoyed both by like feeling like I should be shilling for a multi-billion-dollar entertainment product, but I'm also really mad at like every man I saw who was like, how could people relate to it?
Right, because it's
I
a
don't
little bit
know.
like Exxon's new feminist gasoline.
Yeah,
Right?
it's definitely like a very neoliberal movie, and also just like, of course, a woman only gets a superhero movie like 1,800 movies into the superhero
There's
wave.
so many.
And
God, there are
it's
a lot.
all like when it gets made, it's like a pretty cut and dry superhero movie with like a shitty, nonsensical third act battle.
Yeah.
There were great parts of it, but I was a little like, oh yeah, I guess this is what we're gonna get. But
I think for a DC movie too, though.
oh yeah,
Right?
It's
It's the
also like,
best
That's
DC
probably the
movie.
best showing.
oh, it's definitely the best
Way
DC
by
movie.
far.
Period ever, I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
they don't.
Atomic Blonde, totally incoherent.
Oh, yeah.
Makes no sense. I don't care.
This is the era of the incoherent, makes no sense, enjoyable action movies.
But it's also like incoherent, not for like the actual action I can follow.
Yeah.
It's just everything
Oh, the
around
plot.
it.
That movie,
Oh, no.
I watched it at my buddy's house, like I was all sleepy, but like, it looked great. It looked rad. I don't know. That's
But
all I
it's
can
like
say.
John Wick,
I was
Atomic
gonna say like a
Blonde,
John Wick
it's
where
like,
go fuck some
It's
shit
one of the John Wick co-directors
go
who
fuck,
made it, right?
go fuck some shit up. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's also just like there are so few things that are made like for movie stars anymore, which is also, it's not even on my power rankings, so I'm just going to slip in a reference to it here, like Big Little Lies. Like
Yeah.
that is just like give an actress a platform and they will just fucking own it.
Right. Go
And that
fuck
was
it up.
Charlize
Yeah.
Theron being like, I'm going to flex.
Yeah.
This is about me and
And-
you are here for me. And
Speaking of people who seem cool, Charlize seems fucking cool.
oh
I
yeah.
bet she's the best.
She, when I worked for Chelsea Handler, those two would party all the time. Like,
Oh, God.
they'd be like both out drunk at like 5 a.m. I'm like, we have a show tomorrow.
It's making me depressed.
I know. God, how did they keep? I was in bed at like 11 last night.
Oh,
was
I
not, and
definitely
feel
beat
like
you
I
to
was
it. I
Yeah.
was like, I saw a movie, and then I watched another movie at home.
Yeah.
I've done what I need to do.
That sounds perfect.
But it was just like a really cool time for either like reinventing a franchise with a woman, a long delayed franchise with a woman, or just like making a fun summer movie with Charlize Theron kicking ass.
Yes.
And it was like, this is hitting all my buttons. So
Hell yeah.
go see
Hell yeah.
Star Wars. And picks.
And,
That was-
and pick. David, excellent picks. David, it's time for your final pick.
Oh, yeah, so this is weird. And I said that before every pick. I just feel like it was the most 27 thing. That bully kid.
What bully
The
kid?
kid who got bullied and he...
Oh,
and
and then,
his mom
recently?
turned out to
and
be
then his
racist?
mom's trash.
Yes.
I feel like that's just the most... The way that whole thing went down is just so indicative of right now. Like, we don't
Is
really
everyone-
know what's going on.
It's extremely right
Is
now.
everyone here familiar with the term milkshake duck, or
Yes.
do I just spend too much time on the
I don't
internet?
know.
I know milkshake.
No.
Okay, so there was a very good tweet that just like compounded this whole
By
process.
Pixelated
that
Boat
was like,
is the name of the user. Yeah.
hey, the tweet is basically by Pixelated Boat is like, oh, look at milkshake duck, the duck everyone likes
Yeah.
because it drinks
Yeah,
milkshakes.
the internet is obsessed
And
with
then
milkshake duck.
pause. We regret to inform you the duck is racist.
Yeah.
And it was just like that thing where it's like someone becomes a big deal and then you instantly find out they're problematic. Like Ken Bone
Yeah.
was a big one. But that was also like, I remember seeing like the super treacly, like all the celebrities tweet solidarity. And I remember reading them being like, this can't end well.
No.
This is not,
And it
this
was
is
just...
not going to end on a heartwarming note.
And it slowly happened. Like, he was like that MMA fighter was like, had that video where he was like, yeah, I reached out because I wanted to bring him to a fight, which is also, I don't really know if
Great way
7-year-old...
for like to console a bullied child.
Yeah,
to
yeah.
watch other people.
I want him to watch me beat
Come
the
see
shit
what
out of
those
people.
bullies are going to be doing later.
Yeah. See, they've grown up. Yeah, but then, like, and he was like, the kid's mom just wanted money, and then you see the pictures of them with all the Confederate flags,
Yeah.
and the stories that the kid was calling kids the N-word, which is like, now I'm pro-bully again.
I know,
I don't
yeah.
know what's happening.
Yeah.
It was just like,
Bullies.
it was just like the most, it was the most time, it's just like, that's what we're doing now.
That's an
that
excellent pick, because
whole-
that's fully...
Yeah, that whole story is just like, that's where we're at.
Yes.
And it was crazy because I watched the video too, and I was sad. I was like,
Totally.
oh man,
This
little
little
guy.
kid weeping in the car. We
And
were all
it's just
bullied.
like, but then you go back and you think, yeah, but what's going on? Like, why is his mom recording this?
Yeah. That's
It's like that
what
kid who
gets
made
me.
like $11 million from like unwrapping gifts on YouTube.
What?
What?
Oh, you guys haven't heard about this?
I hate the internet so much.
Yeah, there's basically like an entire YouTube channel where like they don't show the parents, they don't give any identifying information. Thank God, no one knows where this kid lives, no one knows his last name. But like the entire premise of the YouTube channel is like his parents just like film him like playing with new toys and he like reviews them. And so many people watched it that he really, his parents, made $11 million in 2017.
Oh.
Which is like, that kid's gonna grow up to be a racist.
Future
we all
is
know.
horrible.
Future milkshake Josh.
Future sucks.
What is going
That's
on?
bananas.
No.
I have like $1,100.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know if I made 5 digits last year. This year.
Oh man.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Well, Sean, it's time for you, our good vibes man. It's time for you to bring us up out of the gloom,
Get us up this
with your final pick.
It's gonna be, and I'm not political, yeah, and it's good.
You're
that we're in a race, I guess.
You're a
I'm gonna pick
political
Roy Moore losing this most recent election.
Cool. So like
Also
another
stretching
not.
the definition of pop culture.
Yeah, really.
But again, we'll take
really
it.
No, that
Mostly because Doug
that's
Jones,
politics.
Doug Jones single-handedly put "Teach Me How to Dougie" back in the zeitgeist.
He did.
I've heard that song.
A lot of us have been championing that all year. Don't put that just on me.
I just learned how to Dougie this year.
You're right. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I blew it on that so hard. I apologize.
Don't
Should
do
I
that.
read it?
Apologize. Don't go.
All right, let's talk. It's an actual
about
piece
it.
of good news. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, I just it is kind of good news. That's why I was stoked to bring it up. But
Hell yeah.
You know,
It
I just
shocked
like
me
getting lost.
how short the high lasted from that.
Oh,
It was
'cause
like
then
the next day I was like,
Net
oh,
neutrality was gone the next day, right? Or like 2 days later. Fuck Agit Pie. Fuck that guy. Fuck.
he's the most punchable.
I hate that
He's
video.
the most punchable
I
guy.
hate
He's
that
the-
video.
That video.
Here's what you can still do on the internet.
Did you know like a fucking
Get beat up.
Pizzagate was in that video?
Yeah, Pizzagate. Yeah.
Are
I
you
want to
kidding?
bully Agit
Yeah.
Pie so bad. I want to
Yeah.
fucking pull his
That
pants
dude
down and
should
then
have been
shove him
bullied
over.
more.
I want him to have to like walk out of a room with his pants around his ankle, doing that weird shuffle thing.
Yeah, the duck walk.
Yeah, the duck
Put a
walk.
carrot up his butt. Fucking make him walk the 3 miles.
Yeah, exactly. Like
1950 style.
It was just a great example of like the Republican Party has just like owned itself so much that
Yeah.
they can lose in Alabama. It was like they managed to have the worst of every single world.
It's
They like
crazy.
they didn't endorse him at first and they pissed off the base. Then like after like a bunch of people came out and accused him of child molestation, they put the money back in the race.
Yes.
Which is like
Which is-
if I were a Democrat, I would just use that in a campaign ad in like every like well-to-do suburb that's embarrassed by Trump.
Yeah.
It's like these
That's
people put
this
money
party.
on a child molester.
Not somebody else. These people did that.
yeah. Like they just fucked the whole party.
It's crazy.
Because-
A Democrat won in Alabama in 2017. That is
Hell yeah.
wild.
Despite all their gerrymandering.
Yeah. So much share.
Did you see like the
100%.
congressional district breakdown where it's like he won the election for the whole state, and
Yeah.
if you broke it down, he would have won only one congressional district
Out
out
of
of like
5.
7 or
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
No, they're
So-
bad about it down there. There's definitely black voter suppression and all that.
100%.
Like-
oh,
Shout out to black women.
yeah.
Oh
Making
yeah.
moves.
Shout out to the organization. Although I will also say another like online phenomenon I've observed is like the space between like dumb, uncritical, like neoliberal mainstream Dem reaction and like the socialist left like backlash to it is nothing. So like at the same time, I saw tweets that were like Mark being like, God answered my prayers when she's a black woman, and then a bunch of people being like, you know, like. A, they did work. They didn't just magically show up to the polls.
Right.
B, they voted to save themselves, not
Yeah.
all of you. Like
That is the most frustrating shit. Shout out to Janelle James. Great album that came out this year.
Oh, yeah.
She tweeted like, I'm sick of everybody saying this. We're trying to save ourselves. Like, shut up. Because it is like, yeah, they didn't do it for you.
Yeah.
They want a good life as well.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
it's
They're
like-
not like, we gotta make sure these...
Yeah, it's not like, oh, it's time to knuckle up and save these white people.
Save Mark
again.
Ruffalo.
Oh, did you
What are
see
you talking about?
the white vote breakdown that was like, it was really depressing because again, like majority of white women in Alabama voted for Moore as well as Trump. But then they broke it down, it was like if you did evangelical white women, or like white women who self-identify as evangelical was like 75% for Roy Moore. And
Yeah.
then Jones won like non-evangelical white women, which is also just like the way the religious right in this country has just like allowed themselves to be like represented by a child molester
Yeah.
and a serial groper is like, man, remember family values voters?
I know, right?
That's
evangelical Christianity is a religion of like the suppression of women. That's more than anything. Is that like the woman should be at home, safe and like looked
Yeah.
after, and the man should be out there, and it's about that more than Christ. I mean, that's been made like very evident, you know.
Yeah. I will also just say, like, my one out of the 53% number is I did look up the Jewish breakdown, and 75% of Jewish women were for Hillary.
Yeah.
That's how I sleep at night.
Right, yeah, we're not white.
But,
All right,
yeah, felt
Sean,
good.
who took the Eclipse. Eclipse and the Senate election in...
I haven't brought it. I just look
It
at
was
like
just
popular
things that
culture.
happened
I
instead
know.
of 2017.
I know.
I'm not. Don't do that. You stand behind it. You fine.
Well, if I'm wrong, if it's not debatable.
Yeah,
It's very debatable.
it's being debated.
Listen, with my final pick, I'll do something that I'm about to go sampler platter almost.
Oh shit.
Alright.
Oh
Because
shit.
I need to, like,
Chicken rollers at Taco Bell.
fuck, I wish.
They're
Those didn't come out this year, though, did they?
they re-came out.
Taco